I'm Jay Prince for president, and I approve this message.
Because, I go to school, I got my own crib, got my own car, got a job, and, I tried to show him something different. And basically, Michael, he got upset. Well, he wasn't even upset, but he just was playing too much. And basically, he got my lotion off my kitchen table, and he just started pouring on the floor, talking about this for his dead homies. Then he got my liquor. He started pouring it on the floor, talking about this is for his dead homies.
Now you have the floor.
But like he said, we was in college. Yeah,
but you dropped out and you're unemployed.
Nah.
Employed and still matriculating in college.
I'm in college, like I said, anyways.
You list your occupation as unemployed.
Yeah, I'm a student. Right.
Well, you don't list student either. You aren't going right now.
Anyways,
it's not in the middle of the school semester, but you withdrew.
The story, man. You feel me? We was in college. You
don't talk over me. Go ahead.
He got his own crib. You know what I mean? So they want to play.
You went to college and you're talking like that. Why are you trying to act like a hood rat? What's your problem? Are you trying to perpetrate that you were a hood rat? You're talking over me. You see, there's one difference. I'm not him. When you start going for bad, let me tell you something. See, you cold-cocked him, you sucker punched him.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, I fights. Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out so somebody doesn't kill you, fool. Somebody tried to get your tacky head self off in college, and you running around here trying to perpetrate that you're an ignorant hood rat that got as far as college, but you can't talk anymore. What's your excuse for hitting him? What's your excuse for hitting him?
My excuse for hitting him is because he put his hands on me first.
He had a right to take hands upon you and throw your dumb behind out the front door. I'd have thrown you out.
Right. And then, you know what I'm saying, I would have came back and you would have dealt with it.
I'm trying to keep you from dying, foolish one.
I don't care about dying, sir. You feel me? That's one thing about me and you. You probably care. We're supposed to be talking about the case and you talking about me.
You hit him.
But I ain't the one walking around with a dress on. You feel
Let's take what you got on. First time I saw that, your 14-year-old aunt talk about she wants bling. What's the man need jewelry for?
What's on your finger? What's on your finger?
Well, look, my man.
Yeah.
That is a wedding ring. It means I have a wife. What is this? These young boys are so desperately in need of men to give them man training. How many thousands of you do you think I have not seen? Man. So what makes you any different from the other thug idiots trying to perpetrate their men? You can't even stand up straight. You can live off of, and you have no job, you're not in school, you have all that women's jewelry hung around your neck because in your subconscious when you were 6 and nobody has seen a man in 4 or 5 generations, and if you ask your mother why don't you need a man to help raise me? I don't understand, Judge. What's good's a man for? Well, there you go, little lady. You don't even know what he's supposed to be good for. How you gonna raise him to be a man?
He's a real judge whose experience has taken him from South Central LA to the halls of justice. In his courtroom, everyone has the right to a fair trial. But if they're proven wrong, he has the right to make them pay. Judge Joe Brown. He's a real judge. In his courtroom, everyone has the right to a fair trial. But if they're proven wrong, he has the right to make them pay. Judge Joe Brown.
I've defended people as a defense lawyer. I've locked people up as a judge. I'm still a judge. And one of the rewards is seeing that you actually changed somebody. It's about being real. It's about taking care of your own business.
Real cases, a passion for justice. Judge Joe Brown.
In life, it's about being real. It's about taking care of your own business.
Real cases, a passion for justice. Judge Joe Brown.
on this day, we're gonna do it the right way.
Judge Joe Brown wants to hear what happened.
You got busted on that.
I don't feel embarrassed at all.
Oh, you should.
He told me to sue
So
her.
I'm gonna do a little bit of Judge Joe Brown justice. Judge Joe Brown.
And now it's time for Judge Joe Brown. He's the real deal in the courtroom today. And now it's time for Judge Joe Brown. He's the real deal in the courtroom today. All rise for Judge Joe Brown. Whoa! Experience, knowledge, and a passion for the truth.
I'm protecting womanhood and promoting manhood.
Bringing no-nonsense justice to Americans everywhere.
If you listen, you may learn something.
It's time for Judge Joe. Ooh, bad girls you love to hate. Today on Judge Joe Brown.
Bad, bad, bad.
Ooh, bad girls you love to hate. Today on Judge Joe Brown. All rise for Judge Joe Brown.
Whoa, you
Experience, knowledge, and a passion for the truth.
protecting womanhood and promoting manhood.
Bringing no-nonsense justice to Americans everywhere.
If you listen, you might learn something.
It's time for Judge Joe.
From the courtroom to the grill, Judge Joe Brown JJB barbecue sauce. Man, the last time me and my girl was barbecuing and we got us a bottle of that JJB barbecue sauce, I licked my fingers and I dare her to lick her. Judge Joe Brown ought to be ashamed of himself for bringing all this smoke to the barbecue. I'm Jay Prince for president and I approve this message. You gonna finish that?
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
Make me feel like a president. First black president. Dum, 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 dum.
Don't be fucking rude. Are you kidding me?
What's going on, Black House? What's the word? How y'all doing? Okay, we got a special guest today. We just waiting for him to pull up. But in the meantime, I want to shout you guys out that's in the chat. I just spoke with him, so he said he getting himself together. He about to pull up. Q Butter, what's up, Q Butter? He said Black Power, great topic. Shout out to Q Butter. What's going on, my dog? That's another great dude that's doing this guy right here, Q Butter. He doing stuff that we talks about that black men need to be doing, ought to be doing. He very invested in the kids. He started his own school. He got a school. I think that's in New York where he got his own school and stuff. When I be seeing him on IG, he always like you can tell he heavily invested into the children. So shout out to Q Butter. He doing his thing. That's one of the guys that we need to be inspired to do. You know, he doing something that a lot of black men not doing. So we gotta give him his flowers for that. Shout out to American Negro. What's going on? What's going on, American Negro? Bronny Ely. What's going on, Bronny? How you doing? D up in the building, GBG in full effect. What's going on with the Black Flags? Shout out to GBG, do up the Black Flags. We got something going on. I'm in this the studio. Get her off that thing. In the studio right now, y'all. So my voice got to be lit. Tone, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bomb Cherry. He said, hey, what's going on, Bomb Cherry? B Sammy with the Black Flags. What's going on, B Sammy? Shout out to the Black House. Okay, let me see. We got that. Oh, I want you guys when the judge pull up, I'm gonna have him to put his cash app under his name. So if y'all do want to cash up the judge, you know, for coming to our stream and coming to the Black House and blessing us with his presence. Make sure you guys do so from the kindness of your heart, you know, $5 or $1, $2, $5, whatever you decide to send, to support our judge. She's gonna be coming on every Wednesday. I'm thinking about, I gotta talk about with Judge, so we're gonna try to name this the Judge O'Brown, I jack you up. Yeah, I think that'll fit. Judge every Wednesday, this is gonna be the Honorable Judge O'Brown, I'll jack you up. Oh yeah, that fits perfectly. We're gonna be doing that every Wednesday. So shout out to the judge. I might have to go to a commercial break to call and see how far he along. Another thing, shout out to people that have been super chatting, cash apping. Make sure y'all support the stream. I'm doing my thing, trying to bring, better content. Some heavy people to our channel and stuff like that for the Black House. We're gonna represent well. So jacked up Bomb Cherry say, jacked up with Judge O'Brown. Or Judge O'Brown jack you up. Because he used to love saying that in court. That is good saying. What y'all think? Jack up with Judge O'Brown or Judge O'Brown, I'm gonna jack you up, or Judge O'Brown will jack you up. That's gonna be our every Wednesday show. But in the meantime, let me try going into commercial. Let me see what else I got to put out there. Make sure y'all subscribe. I put on that 10-minute 10-minute thing, so get people to subscribe. We can't just constantly give free videos. I was gonna turn it to members only. I'm thinking about it every Wednesday, turning this to members only for the Wednesday show, because this not like no everyday thing. You know what I'm saying? This important. I feel like this is important, and I think this should be the blessing for the members of the Black House. This is something that they should be exclusive to. So yeah, I think this should be exclusive for the members. Whoa. Let me see something. Let me put on some music right quick, y'all. Instead of putting on music, this is the Judge O'Brown show. I will jack you up. Let me put on a video. I think we almost here, y'all. This is going to be very interesting too, y'all. This is going to be dope as heck. Be back with you, y'all. Prove this message.
Because, I go to school, I got my own crib, got my own car, got a job. And, I tried to show him something different. And basically, Michael, he got upset. Well, he wasn't even upset, but he just was playing too much. And basically, he got my lotion or off my kitchen table, and he just started pouring on the floor, talking about this for his dead homies. Then he got my liquor. He started pouring it on the floor, talking about this is for his dead homies.
Now you have the floor.
Well, like he said, we was in college. I mean,
yeah, but you dropped out and you're unemployed.
Nah,
employed and still matriculating in college.
I'm in college, like I said, anyways.
You list your occupation as unemployed.
Unemployed, yeah, I'm a student. Right.
Well, you don't list student either. You aren't going right now.
Anyways,
it's not in the middle of a school semester, but you withdrew.
The story, man. You feel me? We was in college. You
don't talk over me. Go ahead.
He got his own crib. You know what I mean? So they want to play.
You went to college and you're talking like that, bro. You trying to act like a hood rat. What's your problem? Are you trying to perpetrate that you were a hood rat? You're talking over me. You see, there's one difference. I'm not him. When you start going for bad, let me tell you something. See, you cold cocked him, you sucker punched him.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, I fights. Yeah.
Trying to help you out so somebody doesn't kill you. Right. Somebody tried to get your tacky head self off in college, and you running around here trying to perpetrate that you're an ignorant hood rat that got as far as college, but you can't talk anymore. What's your excuse for hitting him? What's your excuse for hitting him? My excuse
for hitting him is because he put his hands on me first.
He had a right to take hands upon you and throw your dumb behind out the front door. I'd have thrown you out.
Right. And then, you know what I'm saying, I would have came back and you would have dealt with it.
I'm trying to keep you from dying, foolish one.
I don't care about dying, sir. You feel me? That's one thing about me and you. You probably care. We're supposed to be talking about the case and you talking about me.
You hit him.
But I ain't the one walking around with a dress on. You feel
Let's take what you got on. First time I saw that, your 14-year-old aunt talk about she wants bling. What's the man need jewelry for?
What's on your finger? What's on your finger?
Well, look, my man.
Yeah.
That is a wedding ring. It means I have a wife. What is this? These young boys are so desperately in need of men to give them man training. How many thousands of you do you think I have not seen? So what makes you any different from the other thug idiots trying to perpetrate their men? You can't even stand up straight. You can live off of, and you have no job, you're not in school, you have all that women's jewelry hung around your neck because in your subconscious when you were 6 and nobody has seen a man in 4 or 5 generations, and if you ask your mother why don't you need a man to help raise me? I don't understand, Judge. What's good's a man for? Well, there you go, little lady. You don't even know what he's supposed to be good for. How you gonna raise him to be a man?
Hey, good evening, Miss Lockhart. How are you?
Hold on, I want to make sure I have you in the right way. I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Feeling all good and anxious and excited today. I got quite a few topics that I want the judge to touch on.
Okay, good. I'm here for it.
I think this is going to be pretty good. I want to get his take on a lot of this stuff. A lot of people.
Go ahead. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yes, definitely. What you think about the topic so far? Are schools indoctrinating children with homosexuality?
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what? I'm working on a story right now. I'm compiling some things all the way back from as early as 2010. And what it shows is that there was Chinese indoctrination being funneled into the schools for as long as it could be. They've actually been giving grants. Now, it just came up recently that there's another large grant. They gave like 17 million or billion or something like that. But what I did is went all the way back and I was like, look, this has been going on for a minute. So I believe that that's one of the agendas. And I say that because, they don't even allow TikTok in certain Asian countries. And so with that in mind, I think that, our government having that hand in that pocket over there and then, having this mindset as well, it just goes hand in hand. You know what? I'm going to say this. I really feel like our country's at war from the inside out. And I feel like we're using our own laws, whomever it is, that's always that they, whoever it is that they are, they're using our judicial system and our laws to actually infiltrate and take over our country. If you look at it, each and every one of the states just recently have been doing things and making laws that they can legally make in their state. However, they sort of got a little tweak on them in that they're illegal federally, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
honestly, yeah, I think we're literally at war,
I,
especially with us getting police officers. I'm sorry, us getting police officers from different countries. You know, Illinois was just the most recent one to sign on with having police officers that don't have to be United States citizens, as
oh
well as California and New York. So
man,
make
this
that make sense.
this my thing. It could be a war from within. I don't think it's. I think it is a war. However, I do think. I think they got a specific agenda. See, right now it's starting off to me. This is how everything messes up, right? Everything that became a detriment for black folks, it first started off when with everybody affected by it in the beginning. So it won't look like it just race specific. But eventually, as time go on, you'll start seeing more black people be more affected by it in the worst way. When you think about child supports, when you think about even black boys becoming gay and stuff, that used to be a so-called white thing, and now it's nothing but blacks. Even when you talk about prisons, it started off with everybody going to jail, going to prison, but now you see majority of black men or black people that's behind the bar. So I think like they got ideas, they got this stuff saying like black is the new gay is the new black. And what do you think about with the Pride Month being on the same day with the Juneteenth flag is with the fist with the rainbow colors around it. So that's what I'm saying. It's become more race specific. What's your thoughts on that?
You know what? Because I do so much digging, and because I look at, I agree with you. I think the reason why it affects us the way that it does is because when they're laying out these blanket takeovers, as it were, I'm gonna keep my conspiratorial fedora on, if you don't mind. Keep my tinfoil fedora on. I think that they blanketly roll it out, but they make sure they massage it a little extra on the indigenous people. I think they rub it in just a little bit more when it comes to us. Case in point, several years ago, there was a doctor who worked for the CDC who came out and said that the children's MMR vaccine was causing African American or Black children or indigenous children to have a high influx of autism. Well, they literally got rid of this guy. You can't even find him anymore. He was a very high up position. They shut him up. And now you look, almost everybody that you know has at least one child or knows somebody that has a child that has it, and they happen to be African American. It's generally our boys. So when you take that type of data and you look at it and you say, well, yeah, there's lots of children who have it, all ethnicities have it. But then you look at that rubbing piece that I was talking about, how they massage it in even more, you'll find that the preponderance of them are our sons. And so I think that it's a plot to do away with the country. Listen, if you look at any piece of history where countries have been taken over, any battles that people have taken over a place, they always change things in the country. They take away all monuments, all statues, all honor of, even when they took down the statue and pulled it down of, I believe it was at Mussolini. And I know that it was also, they pulled down the statue of the cat in Iraq, Saddam. They pulled down because they were taking over. Even though I don't agree with some of the statues and what they stood for here in the United States, I cannot overlook the fact that a lot of those statues, if not all, were removed. And when they were removed and replaced with things that you and maybe myself would not have agreed with. I would have never, not that I have anything against this man personally, but I don't think I would have wanted to explain to my grandchildren what a hero the gentleman was that passed away with the officer's knee in his neck, the one who, what is his name? That was a terrible thing. But I think that, I don't want to hail nobody else no hero, especially the cats that they pulled down. But I think my point is more specific to they're giving us heroes that we'll have to explain in the years to come. And I don't understand how we would elect that as our hero to put on a wall or a bust versus somebody else who's living right now, who's done some great things for our culture. Does that make sense? So yeah, I think they're taking over. I think they are. I think we're gonna see real soon here what's really going on.
And this is my thing too, and I can't wait till the judge come on and ask him.
I just talked to him. He's on his way in.
Oh, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you have a black victim, see, this is my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
They taught us that black people are the enemy, and you better watch out. They taught us. They made us look like we just is a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And so when something like this happened, I pose like when white people mass shoot a school, they say, I can't believe this. He grew up in a such and such way. It got to be a mental illness. But when black people do something like George Floyd and stuff like that, when they delete us, they dig up all of our criminal history to make the society say, okay, well, he deserved it. Every victim that's killed by anybody from far as like a black person is they always make it as if like he was a threat anyway. Especially don't let him have like a violent history or whatever history that he got. They can use that, and once they tell the public that in our minds, they make it seem like, well, that man deserved it. He wasn't no hero. He wasn't no angel. But I don't know nobody in America that was an angel.
I agree. I just don't want to have, I think that if you're gonna give us heroes and people that we can put up on a mural, or you're gonna erect one, and the taxpayers of that particular area are going to pay for it, or even a philanthropic environment, a philanthropic organization, I think that it should be people who we look up to that have really done bona fide good things. Because the problem is that I feel like you're slapping us in the face when you throw this cat and put him as for a mural. I think what happened to him was heinous. I think what happened to him was inhumane. And I, don't like it at all. But by the same token, if you give me the opportunity to choose somebody that I wanted to put up that was still living, that your children, my children, people in the chat, speaking for myself, but using them as an example, I don't think I would have chosen him. If that's all I'm saying.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Uh-huh.
Had they would have never told you nothing about George Floyd background and stuff like that, and just said black man was killed by a cop, you would have still had that same thought process? There you go, right there.
I feel that the way that he passed and the circumstance that they allowed to stand was, they had to keep bringing up his past. They had to keep bringing up all the controversy around him. It's okay to say these are the things that happened and it was a horrible thing. It's okay to do that. But I'm speaking specifically of hailing him a hero enough to put a bust of him.
Okay. 1 second, y'all. We got the honorable judge in the back, but I want to play some before he come up. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown. We made this for you, Judge. From the courtroom to the grill, Judge Joe Brown JJB barbecue sauce. Man, the last time me and my girl was barbecuing and we got us a bottle of that JJB barbecue sauce, I licked my fingers and I dare her to lick her. Judge Joe Brown ought to be ashamed of himself for bringing all this smoke to the barbecue. I'm Jay Prince for president, and I approve this message. You gonna finish that?
I love that commercial. I absolutely love that commercial.
Shout out to Judge Joe Brown. How you doing?
All right. Had some Christ.
Get his barbecue sauce, y'all. Get the barbecue sauce. We're not gonna say it again, y'all. Summer's gonna be over soon. You better get it.
Sauce and that'll work. Service running for mayor. Sauce.
Oh yeah, we got another commercial coming in for your for the mayor.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I seen a couple of your videos when you was actually reaching out to the people that's in your neighborhood and stuff like that. That was actually dope. I really like that. We was talking about earlier. We want to get your take on this. Today's the topic of: our schools are indoctrinating our children with homosexuality. And I got a video that I want to play right quick, and I just want to get your take on this. Here we go. Let me know if y'all can see it. Can y'all see it?
Yes, I can see it. It's twirling. I see your screen. It's not. I see. Who's this? Oh, Ice Cube and Tina Turner and Ike.
Oh, so you don't see the actual?
I see it now. Yes, I see it now.
Okay.
While you're showing that, I'm plugging in this device here before I run out of power.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I can hear you.
All right.
Okay. And I loved it. So I put it on shirts and stickers and buttons. Out of frustration, my kid designed this logo. And I loved it. So I put it on shirts and stickers and buttons because I think every queer kid and family in Wilson County deserves to know that the majority of us do not subscribe to the bigoted ideas of what you think Wilson County Values stands for. We also watch as people who have no kids in these schools get up every month and read cherry-picked passages from these books given to them by Moms for Liberty. And they say these books are dangerous and harmful. These are some of the things that were yelled at my 6th grader this year at West Wilson Middle School. You're going to hell. My parents say I can't talk to you because you're gay. Fag. I bet if I kissed you, you'd like it. You don't deserve to live. My parents say you're a pervert, and if I beat you up, they wouldn't care. You should kill yourself. Die, faggot. My 13-year-old. Where do you think these kids are hearing it from? Not from these books. And the kicker is my kid's lucky. When they go home, they have a family that loves and supports them. A family that doesn't believe their identity is a mental illness, Joe. Not all kids have that support at home, and you all know that. How dare you propose taking away the one lifeline that a kid might have of a trusted teacher?
Wow.
Okay. So, Judge, and they got a lot of more present videos of, them pushing heavily. Wait a minute. I don't know if y'all, okay, we there. They got a lot more videos of them pushing LGBTQ community. And what me and Ms. Lockhart we was talking about earlier, I really think there's going to be, everything starts off like an equal thing, right? When you think about all of the agendas, it started off like they didn't have they didn't discriminate. But it always end up with being more race specific, usually towards Black people. I think that gay propaganda is going to affect more Blacks more than anything as time go on. Because when you think about Pride month of June, and it's actually the flag of Juneteenth, supposed to be a Black freedom type of thing with the fist, and they got the rainbow on there. So it making these and it's indoctrinating these Black children to celebrate it. While they celebrate Juneteenth, they also gonna be celebrating Pride Month. What is your thoughts on that?
We shouldn't be celebrating Juneteenth to begin with. It's kind of a disgrace. But next thing, what has happened for the last half century, they've been saying over and over and over and over again, you should not discriminate, you should be fair. And that started out being articulated on behalf of Black folk in America. But it got seized and run with to deal with this cult. It's not homosexuality, it's the cult of LGBTQIA+. Just like all Christians don't support or did not support Reverend Jim Jones and drinking Kool-Aid at large outdoor picnics in Guyana, nor if you are Islamic do you necessarily support Al-Qaeda or ISIS. But you see, they've run with it, so now they're trying to make the world in their image, which is not good, because we normals, we appreciate the fact that you and these over here, Ike Turner and his former wife, Tina, they all represent one thing. it's a successful screw. So Mother Nature has put a lot of effort into making sure that the right parties attract themselves to getting that screw together and making it happen. So 9 months later, out pops something that can grow up and repeat the cycle. They want out of it. So they've utilized a lot of things that have developed over the last half century for other purposes, and they've exploited it. And it's not healthy. Anything from special pronouns to no more boys and girls 101 A and B, no more courtship, you know, the girls move one way, boys move another, girls dress this way, boys do that way. Now the old sport of girl watching and boy watching is obsolete because you don't know what the hell you're looking at. So they want to switch the paradigm to something that matches their own outlook on life, but that's not the outlook for the majority of us. So we need to understand who the enemy is. Now, in our system, we have collateral damages galore. Part of being free, possessed of a First Amendment, is for unpopular and dysfunctional positions to be subject to vigorous advocacy. Doesn't make them right, but you know, so long as that's all it is, that's one thing. But these clowns are trying to take the governmental process and restrict what anybody can say in accordance, and it makes it bad. That's kind of like my day in school. Some clown would throw something at somebody and they go, run, teacher, he's picking on me. He's going to beat me up. Johnny, don't beat up, don't meet up tomorrow. But he hit me, Johnny, please. Nah, 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 nah. Teacher's gonna protect me. Yeah, well, you still gotta go home from school. Yeah, my mommy's coming to pick me up. You won't be able to get me. And yeah. And see, that's what they do. So it's a grave danger to the republic, and we need to identify the enemies, and we need to, well, we have some rights, so we can exercise those rights too, and we don't need to let them get away with suppressing them. But in a democratic republic, you have some collateral damages that can be suffered. Classic example is we don't want to give up how fast we travel on the freeways or through our advanced communication or transportation devices. So we have the collateral damage that often occurs of getting real jacked up in a car wreck. It's called acceptable collateral damage. You have the collateral damage of idiots being able to exercise the First Amendment, but we can't let them cut us off from exercising it either. So is it racism? Or is it using something that developed because of racism? Actually, it is the opportunity for a lot of colored folk to become something else. I don't want to be a Negro anymore. I think I'll be one of those rainbow types, you know, all colors. And I'll be a skittle, you know, and colorful, and I can enjoy the rainbow. And I'm making my application, and they're willing to undergo the initiation. I call it the 6B thing: unbelt, drop breeches, drop boxers, bend over, spread boy cheeks, and butt bang. Or unbra, hike up the bloomers, butt on the bench, knees bucked, and beaver bust.
So Judge, so one I want to say, right, when we think about this, I think a lot of kids gonna feel more comfortable joining the rainbow community because one, black people in general just want to feel safe, right? And when you talk about protection, the LGBTQ community got the highest protection in America right now, to the point where you can't even call a man that was born a man and flip to a woman, you cannot call him a man that what God called him. In Michigan, you can actually be charged with a felony.
Fuck the felony. You have to take it. If people could get shot down, gunned down, trying to get rights as black folk, damn sure you can get it for being a normal human being. That's unconstitutional. Somebody just got to stand up to them. Like a whole bunch of civil rights folks and other folk who weren't even into civil rights, union members used to do. It ain't right. We're doing it.
Oh,
You have to be courage. You have to have courage. You can't be a coward and be afraid of this shit. There is no way that crap is going to stand. And if any of you remember me talking about it when they first started the trial on this, I said, whatever the outcome, if they get a conviction on Dr. Cosby, it will not stand because of the disgrace that they have brought upon the Fifth Amendment. And sure enough, he got his conviction overturned. He had to have the courage that he had to stand up and say, hell no. I talked to him. He said, they kept coming to me over and over. You could be out of jail within 2 or 3 days if you just concede. No, I'm not. But you see, sometimes you have to pay the consequences of being somewhere right here. So it's not a good thing. And the point of the exercise is less than 0.5% of this country's population, not even 0.5% is tranny.
That's right.
Is lesbian. A little less than 1.5% consists of those who want to be male gays, and you can add in about 4 to 4.5% who occasionally will swing both ways, so they're bisexual. So that adds up maximum of about 7.5% of the population. That still leaves 93%, 92.5% of the population, 9 out of every 10 people, a little more actually. And if you have a press that is populated by those who unbelted, drop breeches, boxers, and bent, etc., who control it, they want to use a classic propaganda tactic of lying about circumstances so you believe that they are the majority when they're not. So in other words, anywhere you go in America, if you've got the maximum number of gay folk in there, essentially what you're getting is 9 out of every 10 people you're looking at are normal just like you, think just like you, but are scared to open their mouths because they've been told they don't think like that. That's at best. So just keep that in mind. It's a lie, and we have to stand up to it. And we didn't elect these people to switch us to the National Socialist Workers Party philosophy. You know what National Socialist Workers Party is?
No, I do not.
The German acronym is Nazi, Nazi.
Okay.
So in other words, if you study what the Nazis did in the late 1920s, early 1930s in Germany, in the Weimar Republic, you can see exactly what they're doing now. The language is almost exactly the same.
Yes.
The conversion of phraseology and turning common meanings into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Do stuff like with this pronoun thing. You want to screw up the whole English language that everybody else in the rest of the world is trying to use for international communications. And you want to say, not he is, she is, it is, they are, or we are. You're supposed to say we is or they is. This bad English. You don't get that kind of benefit. And then when you're in commerce with most of the rest of the world, their languages are rather gender specific because not just referring to he, she, it, but some words are feminine, some are masculine. You use il or la or il, and that's just the way humans have spoken since day one. So these clowns want you to flip the script on that to satisfy them. Like I told one little 9, 10-year-old pervert in the making, I said, look, Kid, I don't know who the hell you are. Don't give a damn about you are. The only way that I will remember your pronoun is if you're stupid enough to tattoo it on your forehead. And if you do that, then you too damn big a fool to listen to anyway. You will be a he, she, or an it. If you want to be an it, I can call you that all day long. It's crazy, it's wrong, or it is bad, but I'll call you he and she, and you can't make me. And your mama ain't that bad either. Probably ain't fine enough to even wink at. Probably looking at you. And your daddy, he got to be. You see, I'll whip his behind if he wants to get my
And I really appreciate you so much for really, because I remind myself of you, like, you gonna speak your mind. And I think they trying to take that away from us. I think nowadays in 2023, moving forward, I think the straight heterosexual people has been booted out of America, soon to be out of the globe. The heterosexuals idea.
They think we are, so we will willingly take ourselves out. There aren't enough of them to make us.
Absolutely.
They started trying to do this. All of those cops, 9 out of every 10 of them are normal. They're not going to buy into it either. The Army, you know why they've been trying to sissify the Army and the Marine Corps, so they'll get a bunch of recruits in there that might go along with it. But the typical straight guy in the military, he's not going to bust out somebody for being Uncle Jones and Granddaddy Thompson and whatever it may be, and acting as normal as he is. See, they're not going to buy it. So they're risking a mutiny. It's all across the board. And if you want to see what the reality is, Bud Light, Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, they didn't have 1,450 people who were surveyed that are supposed to statistically represent the United States. So the opinion of 1,450 plus or minus 3 points either direction is supposed to be representative. They had several tens of millions of people voting on the proposition at hand. And what was it? Do you want to buy Bud Light because some damn fool is celebrating the 365th day of him being a confirmed idiot, wearing some blue panties and bra, sitting in a bubble bath? Oh, my Bud Light, they put me on the can. Well, everybody said, oh, hell no. So now they've lost more than a third of their sales, and they're dropping. And they're laying off several hundreds, and you can tell who the sycophants are, like CNN and others, but it's only a few hundred. They employ 14,000 people. Yeah, but that few hundred are not through. And the people have said, hell no, screw Bud Light, screw Budweiser, screw Anheuser-Busch with all of the rest of his products. And now we find out it ain't even an American company anymore.
There are several that aren't American companies anymore.
So Anheuser-Busch had 84% of the American beer market. Not anymore. And then speaking of which, what's this damn fool for the governor of Illinois signed this bill that permits aliens to be cops?
So I'm going to take that off the list because that's one of the questions that I had for you. I wanted you to talk to us about that.
That's the biggest damn fool stunt I've ever heard. They don't
It's in California too, Judge.
What's going on? What's called the American way? Miranda, you have a right to remain silent. All of the rest of it, you can't just gun down somebody because you're a cop. You work for the people, not the other way around. You don't have a boss except those people out there on the streets. No, that's poison. Somebody needs, maybe if he got spanked real hard, he'd enjoy it. He probably likes rough trade, kind of popping Fred Pillsbury doughboy anyway. He has that look.
So Judge, I'm gonna let Ms. Lockhart ask you a few questions.
But he's got a right to be a sissy. That's his business.
So let me ask you. Now, it's been taught that between black men and black women begin upset because now these men who became women is entering their space of sports, enter their space of womanhood, actually taking the womanhood from the biological woman and saying that y'all got to share that period, y'all got to share the ideal of pregnancy. And now, a lot of women, particularly black women, is upset with them now. But we saying that, well, when we were trying to fight against it before it became legally, full 100% legal, when Obama was, supporting this, gave us this out of everything else.
Bathhouse,
Huh?
Bathhouse Berry.
Well, I never
They
heard
don't
of
know nothing about that over here. My folks
Bathhouse Berry
probably do, but I
Sotoro,
don't think
the
Jay
fake
Prince knows.
Negro, the Bush Bunny fake.
He don't know nothing about that, Judge.
I never heard of that. But
Oh,
think about it, Judge.
My chat is here. My chat is here. They know
Your
about
chat
it.
here too. I was
Barack
wondering, like, he was some new
Berry
people.
No, my
Sotoro
chat is here.
used
They
to
know
like to
about it.
hang out in the same bathhouses as Juicy Jesse Smollett. That's a business. But come on out the closet, man. You ain't got to hide. It's 21st century.
But now, that's what we were saying. That's what we were saying, Judge. Like, okay, we was like, black men trying to stop y'all from doing this, and our women fought against us. And by the way, Judge, I want you to tell Ms. Lockhart your Cash App so I can post it. So whenever, if y'all do this, want to support the judge, support him with the barbecue sauce, and help him for his campaign, y'all can send the Cash App to Judge O'Brown.
Cash $ Judge Joe Brown 2023. Yeah. Take back normalcy. I mean, gay folk, I don't have a problem against gay folk. I got a problem against LGBTQIA plus, the cult. It's dangerous. And they're trying to make it the religion of the country. You can't put a cross under an American flag on a federal building. You can't put the multi-pointed Jewish star there. You can't put the Islamic crescent. You can't show an image of Buddha under the American flag. You can't put the Hindu symbols under the American flag, but you can put a damn rainbow? Come on now. And by the way, well, LGBTQ doesn't have a God, doesn't have to, neither does what other religion that I just mentioned. Buddhism doesn't have a God either. So it's a system of philosophy. So you take one system of philosophy, so certain people that are weak can get meaning, and then now you want to be a convert, proselytize to the rest of the country and cram it down everybody's throats. This is not the Dark Age Crusades. This is not the 100-year war between Protestantism and Catholicism. This is something different. This is new. This is the 21st century. And what is it? Ain't gonna be no shit like that.
Well, I have
one other thing too. YouTube,
yes, sir.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of these things. People say, well, they can do what they want to do because they're private. No, they can't. Remember the guy that got hauled in front of the Supreme Court because he wouldn't bake a cake? Or the woman that wouldn't come up with the website? Well, they impacted interstate commerce and or communications. So you tell me YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc., CNN, they don't impact interstate communications? Oh, hell no. Yeah, they do. So if they do, they get stuck with the whole panoply of rights, and they cannot infringe on somebody's First Amendment. They cannot try to protect some little weakling's spirits or his feelings, because that's not subject to constitutional protection. The only thing you could not do, perhaps, when it was an obscenity matter, you just couldn't say something in a certain way, but you could express the concept using perhaps more polite language. Nowadays, you can't presume to express something, but it's all right for somebody else over there to say all he wants and badmouth the hell out of you. That's Orwellian, Animal Farm. You know, the animals staged
Yes.
revolution. They had a constitution. All animals are created equal. And then the pigs did their thing, and all animals are equal, but pigs are more equal than others. Well, damn it. I always thought pigs made remarkably good bacon and ham and pork chops, but they ain't better than the rest of us. So pork chop forever, you know, bacon wrap. But if you can eat the pig, but it's gonna run me to hell with that. Shouldn't run anybody else either.
You know, go ahead. Go ahead.
I can see taking Mandarin Chinese. They had a man up campaign they put in place January 21. The Russians already had one, and you take Mandarin Chinese if you want to be on top of the world in the next few decades, but I'll be damned if I'm going to learn oink. So I speak with the pigs. Right.
Oh, wow.
Squeal. All right.
You know, Judge,
Be good in a lard can, man, or in a package of bacon, man. You know, if you wasn't getting replaced by turkey bacon because it's more healthy for you. But I'm sorry, you know, ain't gonna be no shit like that.
Judge, I want to ask a couple of questions. My chat, I want to thank all of my chat for being here. Headlines with the Voice, thank you so very much for participating in the show with us. You know, we hold Judge Joe Brown near and dear to our heart. They're at Headlines with the Voice, as well as the Lockhart Perspective. And I want to say thank you to all of our folks, Susan Donahue, all of you for hanging out with us today. What I wanted to ask you, and I, you know, I know that we're dealing specifically with the indoctrination, but I just cannot prevent myself from talking to you about this. Now, I was sharing with everyone before you came on how China had given large lump sums of money. And those large amounts of money was given from as far back as my research shows, and possibly it was a lot further, but I've only dug so far to like 2008. Large lump sums of money that was given to the United States education department, pushed and injected in certain universities, the Confucius courses and the endowments that they had given, as well as some of the monies that were given to the United States, the standard education. I believe that we are under attack and we are at war from the inside out. Everything that I see right now going on tells me that if it isn't what I'm thinking, we're headed that way. What can you tell me or tell us or share with us about the legality of other countries actually being able to infuse cash into our system? I mean, is that not
It's too late.
constitutionally wrong?
It's too late. What happened is only Tricky Dick Nixon could have gotten away with it, but he normalized the relationship with the People's Republic of China circa 1974. All right. The Reagan administration, with that profoundly stupid and ignorant philosophy of Reaganomics that even George Herbert Walker Bush had the decency to denounce by calling it voodoo economics, the country couldn't sustain itself. So acting on the normalized relationship that the U.S. had by 1980-81 with China, thanks to Nixon, it started borrowing money from the People's Republic of China. The U.S. owes more than $30 trillion to the People's Republic of China. There was a point in there where you want to get pissed about something, realize that Boeing aircraft pays fewer tax dollars, not percentage-wise, but they paid less on their tax return than the average middle-class American. And to make up for that deficit, they borrowed the money. Now, Keynesian economics is interesting. The U.S. always was able to avail itself of that. In other words, if the government spent money it really wasn't spending money when it was trying to boost its economy. It's kind of like you have a household budget that says X number of dollars for education, X for food, X for medical expenses, a little bit for vacation here and there, a little bit of mad money. So what happens is you have a family emergency within the family. You don't borrow anything outside. You just change your family allocation of your funds. Well, that's what we were doing. So when we had a recession or you know, a stock market crash and a depression, 1929, what happens is FDR just peeped the Keynesian economics. He just said the government will spend, people will go to work, they'll make money, they pay taxes, we'll keep a careful control on inflation, and we will boost the economy back the way it ought to have been and put certain controls in. Well, that worked, but now it can't because it does not work when you have a significant outside debt obligation. We've never owed anyone this kind of money. So on the north side of 30 some trillion dollars, wherein the typical American income for the whole country is somewhere around 19 trillion a year, you know, that's a heavy debt load that wipes out any opportunity to use Keynesian economics to bail the country out. So we have this in and out mess. We have Congress abdicating its responsibility to control the economic expenditures of the country because this subject has gotten too sophisticated for too many of them. So they have the Fed, and the Fed ranks the interest rates up and down to control inflation and try to tame the economy when it looks like it's getting too wild, or boost it when it starts doing too poorly. That's just a cop out. But we have that. And at this point, what we've done is we've gotten away from control by the people and turned these vital things over to others who are supposed to know better because the rest of us are too ignorant to understand the principles. But right now, back to your point, is China has made a huge national investment in the United States of America. They are a sovereign investor. In other words, their government invests in stocks, bonds, and securities rather than just their individuals. So they own a good deal of the United States, and it would not make good business sense to destroy an investment. So a lot of what we're getting hyped with about how evil the Chinese are has got to do with some people resent what they're doing without understanding it. Now, what are they doing? Go look in your kitchen, and I defy you to go through a single drawer where most of it in the drawer is not made in China, not Taiwan, made in China. You get an iPhone, and
made in China.
If you follow, oh, it's Japanese and all blah blah, oh crap with that. The point is, if you order a new iPhone and you ask that they keep you up on its shipment to you, you'll find it stops in mainland China twice before it leaves the country to wind up on the West Coast, where it gets put into national commerce, and it'll wind up going through Memphis before it gets to you. So they have the technology these days. 78% of the world's manufacturing capacity is in the People's Republic of China. They've got the fastest computer system in the world. They've got 1,300,000,000 some million people in China. We only have 300 some million. To go to college here, you have to put yourself in hock. Over there, you go as far as you want to go free of charge. And the alternative is you work in a rice paddy up to your knees in human excrement and piss, stinks like hell. You work in a completely unsafe factory where anything can get ground off, or you continue your education. So they're leading in physics, science, technology, engineering, and math. We are very, very nervous about it. They own us. See,
I
and the
agree.
problem is why, if you are a good investor and you've sunk all this money in a project, do you try to sabotage your own project? You don't. But what they do is because they have invested so much that they control all of the world's currencies, including the American dollar, and they stabilize them. Two, they control all of the world's stock exchanges and they stabilize them. And every time we hear stuck on stupid here, the Chinese slip in through the back door and say, ain't gonna be no stuff like that. You better change up. We might suggest that you look at this, and other, and see who's grinning back at you because we own it. You're not going to have a job in a short while if you keep up with this stupidity. So what we don't realize is we would be in a lot worse situation economically were it not for the People's Republic of China. Now, in the rest, I'll tell you a little brief anecdote. A roommate I had at UCLA, he's from Nigeria. He's probably, I know he's a billionaire, but he'd be a lot more wealthy if they hadn't put him on a wall and shot him, which knowing him was not improbable. But as he said, Joe, last time I talked to him, my great grandson is part Chinese. And my grandson-in-law, he's a doctored engineer. And he got my granddaughter, one of them, she's got a PhD and the Chinese paid for it. And by the way, you have 64 million Afro-Americans. Well, there's 120, 130 million Afro-Chins.
Okay.
See, they're taking over everything because they know one thing, they have not gotten away from their manhood. So one way to get everybody nice with everybody is to have children with them so your legacy becomes part of something else, so you have a vested interest in promoting it. So in Little Africa, which is southern China, they've got 120 million Black and Chinese people. We have 64 million, half of that, who are Black and comboed with something else living in the United States. So we need to keep that in perspective. Go as far as you can go through school, no cost. Or you can be here where everybody's trying to price you out of it and they want everybody stuck on stupid because the game plan has got to be kept quiet. People have got to be distracted. So we're fighting over Skittles and rainbow crap. And we are being taught that we are owed something. Meanwhile, the rest of the world's being taught, hey, it's what you make of it. It's a rough world. You could die tomorrow just by existing on this planet without a human lifting a hand to you. So you need to get ready for it. Meanwhile, we're over here whining and carrying on, worried about what somebody's going to give us.
You know, I also wanted to ask you one other question. There's actually, I lied. There's two questions, and I'll keep them together. The first thing I wanted to talk about was something you mentioned with regards to the ownership of businesses or whatnot. I'm looking right now at the businesses that we used to think were American owned, that were bona fide American owned. And right now, I see over 25, close to 30 of them that are now owned by the Chinese. Companies that we used to trust, like the Hoover, as well as Smithfield Foods and all those other companies. I want to talk to you about that. And then I want to ask another question. And then I want to ask any more for a minute. I would like for you to share with all of us how the Fed Now, this nice little sneaky Fed Now, because I've done a lot of research on it. I know you have. How does that actually affect us? And I think there are a lot of people who don't know. They feel it's sort of benign. The Fed Now. Fed Now. Fed Now.
Oh, yeah.
Fed Now. How they've sort of injected that now as a way for the banks to now. At last I counted, it was about 20 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you answer that, Judge, real quick, I want to do A quick look, 20 seconds commercial right quick. From the courtroom to the grill, Judge Joe Brown JJB barbecue sauce. Man, the last time me and my girl was barbecuing and we got us a bottle of that JJB barbecue sauce, I licked my fingers and I dare her lick hers. Judge Joe Brown ought to be ashamed of himself for bringing all this smoke to the barbecue. I'm Jay Prince for president and I approve this message. You gonna finish that?
I think that is so cute.
By the way, that's not how I cook it personally, but anyway, it'll work.
Because he got that true Tennessee. That's the reason why he don't cook it like that.
I grew up in Los Angeles, California.
I went to Banning High School and Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. Class of 1982.
John Muir, Budlong Avenue Elementary.
Oh, yeah, I know Budlong. I remember that.
John Muir Junior High, Dorsey High, and UCLA.
Get out of town, Dorsey. I have some good friends who went to Dorsey who are now in Georgia. I was in Georgia for a minute and ran into them. I didn't know that it was Dorsey, or did I? That is awesome. Yeah, so we're both from the same neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Homegirl. Homeboy. So I do want to talk about that. I want everybody to understand that when I made the comment earlier that I felt like, and this was my personal opinion, it wasn't anybody else's. My personal opinion is that we are being infiltrated from the inside out. In tandem with the two questions that I've already posed, can you tell us about the constitutionality, if there's anything or any laws that state that we can't basically give away the baby and the bathwater at the same time? I think allowing all these companies to come in is not good.
But you see, here's the thing with the People's Republic of China. They are sovereign investors. That's how they get in. You have the largest country in the whole world that controls and stabilizes all of the world's currencies. In other words, they've got more of everybody's money than the issuing country does, okay? Now, what they're doing is not a bad thing for our economy. We have gotten so deep into fantasy land that we let the fat cats around here get away with anything they care to get away with. And so few of our elected officials are responsible and not engaged in either active criminality, corruption, or happen to be owned by the people that are ripping the country off, that right now we are very dependent on the Chinese for our day-to-day stability. You need to get that. The other thing is a sovereign investor. It's not one guy trying to get all the money. It's somebody trying to get as much as possible for a group, the whole people. And what happens is, if you read their stuff, and I commend their website, it's huge. The website for the People's Republic of China. And if you read it, their idea is the more widely wealth is spread, the wealthier individuals will become. The wealthier individuals become, the wealthier the entire group of people becomes. And because they understand well how interconnected the whole world is, they pontificate over and over again that they have to come in and straighten us up because there are some greedy folk in the United States that, because of modern communications, worldwide investments, would economically screw everybody on the planet with their narrow-minded selfishness. So they come in to say, no, you can't do that. Now, we can reverse things, but the point is that you have to start doing what is necessary to do that. Now, if you can recite all of the stats on somebody's percentages from the floor in basketball, or their completion rate in football, or their batting average in baseball, but you can't say anything about how economics works, then you're pretty sad. You've been distracted. That is that Caesarean thing Julius said famously 66 years ago. Julia, great Caesar, what do you think the Roman people are going to say when they find that you have been made dictator for life? He said, feed them and entertain them, and they won't care. In other words, in Latin, it's done pane e excelsior. Give them bread and circuses, and they won't care. So we care about all the circuses. We are all enamored on what star is doing what celebrity is this, what matter of foolishness is that, what's happening with the circuses, which is what they used to call athletic games, whether gladiatorial or chariot racing or wrestling matches. And we know all of that, but we don't know anything about the business of government or finance. And we suffer. We have a penitentiary system that is very intriguing because it no longer deals exclusively with crime and its control. It deals with what to do with surplus labor. See, labor is a commodity. And when you get a glut, the price drops. And there's some that get real upset. They might be Timothy McVeigh resurrected and buy 200 pounds of the most common fertilizer in America and blow up a courthouse in another Oklahoma City. So you don't want that. So what three things do you do when you have glut in the commodity? You cut back production, subsidize the producer, store the surplus. We put our surplus in a jail cell instead of a grain silo. The subsidies, the check, cutting back of production is a stuck on stupid nonsense where the kids drug out, drop out, bang out, get knocked up too early, too often, don't have vocational skills, any academic excellence. They clown, carry on, act the wrong way. They ideate inappropriately. They make where they live islands of chaos that cannot engage in collective political self-help, and they distract others who are worried about crime getting ripped off from the front door to the carport instead of how economically exploited they are. And that means that the system doesn't want to rehabilitate, because if you rehabilitate, you reglut. Some people think, oh, it's slavery because the 13th Amendment didn't out. That's got nothing to do with it. Yeah, they put you to work in a penitentiary. That's because, what's the old thing? Idle minds mischief make. So they want to keep you occupied and out of trouble. So they'll have you stamp out license plates, but your labor is basically otherwise glutting the market. So they want you with that felony, so you become difficult to employ, so you can make worse chaos where you live, so you can make people dependent upon the check, so the check's not there to subsidize the kids that they had. Unfortunately, they have kids to get the check, etc. Nobody knows how to raise them. You're talking about white supremacy, and the key is dealing with adversity. And what happens is, who's sitting on the other side of the kitchen table? Is there a white man on the other side of the table? No, it's nobody's on that other side of the table to teach how you deal with reading, writing, arithmetic, all that other stuff. You don't have to write cursively anymore. You don't need to learn your multiplication tables. The cell phone's supposed to do it for you, but now the infrastructure is broken down all across the country, and you get power outages if a dog takes a leak on a sidewalk. And where does this go? We're talking about electronic currency and digital dollars and all of that, and Massa Biden ain't got the constitutional authority. Article 1 Section 8 reserves that to Congress. So he's stepping outside of himself. He's acting like Adolf, Z, and all this nonsense. So we buy into it. We don't even learn about it.
Judge, I want to read something to you, and I'd like to know if you can share something with us about it. In September 2024, less than 2 months before the U.S. presidential election, the United Nations will host a landmark summit of the future where member nations will adopt a pact for the future. That's actually the name of the agreement. The agreement is going to solidify numerous policy reforms offered by the United Nations over the past 2 years as a part of its sweeping our common agenda platform. Now, although there are numerous radical proposals included in the agenda, perhaps none are more important than the UN plan for a new emergency platform. Let me give you some of the highlights of here. It's a stunning proposal to give the United Nations significant power in the event of a future global shock, such as another worldwide pandemic. Many of the details of the United Nations Emergency Platform were laid out in a March 2023 policy paper that was titled Strengthening the International Response to Complex Global Shocks, an Emergency Platform. In the paper, the United Nations Secretary General writes, quote, I propose that the General Assembly provide the Secretary General and the United Nations systems a standing authority to convene and operationalize automatically an emergency platform in the event of a future global shock in efficiency, a sufficient scale, severity, as well as reach. Now, once this is triggered, the emergency platform would give the United Nations the ability to actively promote and drive an international response that places the principles of equity and solidarity at the center of its work. Now, the United Nations would bring together the stakeholders of the world, including the academics, governments, private sector actors, as well as international financial institutions, to ensure there is a unified global response to the crisis. The emergency platform would also give the United Nations power to ensure that all participating actors make commitments that can contribute meaningfully to the response and that they are held to account for the delivery of those commitments. Now, even though we're seeing that piece, here's how it gets a little worse. And this is really what I want to dig into. As difficult as all that I've just read may be to believe, the story gets a little worse from here. Although the duration of the emergency platform would initially be set for a finite period, at the end of that period, the Secretary General could extend the work of an emergency platform if required, according to the United Nations' own proposal. That means the Secretary General would have the authority to keep the emergency platform in place indefinitely, all without the reauthorization from the member nations. Now, that kind of global shock, what kind could trigger it? Well, according to their information, it could be anything from like what we just had, a major pandemic. It could be a major climactic event, a global digital connectivity disruption, a major event, or get this, a major event in outer space. And here's what I thought was funny: unforeseen risks, like black swan events. Now, this isn't to say that these incredibly broad categories would be the only potential justifications allowed to trigger the emergency platform. The proposal makes it clear that it would allow the convening role of the United Nations to be maximized in the face of crisis with global reach, and should not be agnostic as to the crisis, as we do not know what type of global shock we may face in the future. President Biden has agreed and sided with this. The emergency platform proposal might be about the biggest attempt at power grab in the United Nations history, but as shocking as that may be, it pales in comparison to the Biden administration's treatment of this extremist proposal. So rather than assert America's independence, the author of this piece writes, and sovereignty, the White House has expressed its support for the emergency platform. U.S. Ambassador Chris Lu noted it twice in the month of March of 2022 that the Biden administration completely backs the emergency platform, along with numerous other proposals, including our common agenda, which is one of the agendas from the United Nations. I appreciate you for allowing me to read that, but I needed to give you the backstory to what I was asking.
I'm aware of what you're talking about.
So what would you share with us about that?
Resolution Article 6 of the Constitution says ratified treaties become part of the supreme law of the land, but the treaties have to be ratified. So Massa Biden ain't got crap ratified yet. Next thing is a real world thing. What they are alluding to is the alarming stats that are being developed mathematically that show the planet is long overdue for another smackdown by a very large asteroid, comet, or something like that. And we don't particularly want to go the way of the dinosaurs. there is a supergiant red star a bit more than 500 light years away called Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse.
Betelgeuse, yeah.
And it has been seen last year to be throbbing, so to speak.
Yes.
And everywhere they have observed that, elsewhere, the star has gone supernova. 500 light years away from us is not far enough to get away from the blast zone. So it may have already happened, but we won't find out about it for 500
more years.
And it could already be here. So we have to deal with some accommodations, chop on that. And there are some other things going wrong too. But ultimately, how does it all work? The United Nations is like a glorified Wakanda moment. In other words, it ain't shit about shit except talk. If it's not backed up by the United States,
bingo,
Russia, China, Pakistan, India. Let's see, who else in here?
You got the oil countries.
Economically, but militarily, the whole thing falls apart if the United States Navy still exists and the ice caps, Arctic ice caps, haven't completely melted. We have Ohio-class nuclear ballistic missile submarines that essentially extort everybody else on the planet with annihilation. So we'd have to approve of it. Otherwise, the UN is just yak, doing empty talk like it's a Wakanda Black Panther movie.
Could an EO make this something that could happen? I mean, could he use an executive order? Does he have, and by he, I mean,
no, he doesn't. He can negotiate the treaty, but it has to be ratified by the Senate. Now, they control the Senate narrowly, but there's an election coming up. The other thing that is interesting about Article 6, whereas the Constitution is one of the supreme laws of the land, particularized acts of Congress that cause the Constitution to be enabled, that's the second category of supreme law. And the third is treaties that have been ratified by the Senate. Now, there's a 1999 treaty negotiated by President Bill Clinton that was ratified by the Senate. And guess what it says?
What?
The Ukraine and the United States enter into a treaty wherein wanted criminal elements, indicted elements, or those under mutual standards of suspicion shall be apprehended, detained, and extradited to the requesting country. In late October, early November 2020, Ukraine Supreme Court published a long organized crime indictment wherein Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden are listed in multiple counts as wanted felons for extortion, bribery, subornation or attempting to elicit perjury, treason, etc., and a number of crimes. And we're supposed to take the bastard into custody, hold him, and send him to the Ukraine, which isn't likely to happen
at all.
as long as he's commander-in-chief and chief diplomat, that would be. But in any event, as soon as he's out, they're supposed to send him over there, take him into custody, because the indictments are pending. They did go through a grand jury process comparable to our own, and in fact, modeled on our system.
Yes.
And are we in Ukraine because of something righteous, or because this piece of urban trailer park trash in the White House is trying to bribe again, only this time bribe his way out of an indictment and get it dismissed? So it's interesting, but right now we don't have, in spite of what he wants, a negotiated and ratified treaty. So that's just him running off of it, his ignorant mouth. And although his ignorance is abysmal and always has been, he's already had a smackdown on that several times in the last few months where the Supreme Court said it can't do that.
And it seems like every other day the smoke screen just gets bigger. I'm not on anybody's side, but I just know I don't like anybody diddling
Well,
with
let me
my
say,
brain.
let me say this. At the beginning of this year, Fox was doing a thing, and they asked me if I wouldn't mind being the judge on this moot proceeding where they had a mock grand jury to look into whether or not there was probable cause to believe that crime had been committed and further proceedings were necessary. Specifically, they were talking about FARA, F-A-R-A, Foreign Agents Registration Act. The pretty, in my opinion, realistic jury that they put together quickly after looking at the evidence indicated there was probable cause. Now, what did we look at? We had the repair technician come in, and it developed that he had downloaded the contents of all three, not one, but three laptops. There
Wow.
is so much criminality discussed in there. There are video clips about it. There are White House tapes, which are no longer just audio, but include the visual and very clear and precise sound. So you can look at this stuff, and it's clear there's some people that ought to be under federal indictment, even for outright treason. And it's going to be interesting with that. I'll point out something else, too. Whether you like Trump or not has got nothing to do with it. We have rights as citizens that are articulated in the names of some pretty bad people. Like you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and may be used, etc., etc. We call that Mirandizing somebody, the Miranda rights. Miranda wasn't a good person.
Nope.
Now, we also have some other rights. One, let's look what Bragg tried to do to attack him on the state level in New York. Then there's the attack down in Florida. Then there's another attack on January 6th. Well,
And now Georgia.
So what happens is Massa Biden and this clown racist Byrd, who was former Grand Dragon of the Klan.
Yeah.
Then you have this Eastland ass from Mississippi. They came up with stuff back 1981 bill they sponsored and got through that allows the federal prosecutors, knowing they cannot get a conviction, to deliberately harass or dysfunctionalize somebody they disapprove of. Now let's take, for example, New York.
Okay.
Bragg, the idiot DA there, indicts him for supposedly trying to bribe Stormy Daniels not to reveal embarrassing information. Well, let's flip the script. If you've got to pay somebody off to keep them from embarrassing you, that's blackmail. So in other words, this fool indicted the victim of felony blackmail.
Yeah, plain and simple.
Yeah, which is, wow. Then there's this thing here where supposedly the corporate entity did not specify what the payout to Stormy Daniels was about. Well, American law encourages settlement over trial when it's civil. So there's a settlement. There was a gag provision. Keep your mouth shut. So if in a public record the corporation blabs about what it's about, then they violated the court order on gag. So you are indicting an entity for following the law. You can keep going with that. Okay, the thing down in Florida with the classified information, the U.S. Supreme Court has recently even gone into it in detail. The case is called United States Department of the Navy versus Egan, E-G-A-N, 1988. There are a number of concurring opinions, and if you read them, some of them say, in joining in the result, that one, since the president is the commander-in-chief, he can override the Defense Department and declassify anything he wants to.
Correct.
And in face, he can classify anything he wants to and override.
Absolutely.
As chief diplomat of the United States by the Constitution, he has the authority to do the same. So if he chose as president to remove the documents, he declassified them, but he maintains a fiduciary responsibility, having taken the oath of office to protect the interest of the country. So he might have said in his head, I didn't okay this going to these archivists. Who knows what kind of security classification they have. This stuff is guarded in Mar-a-Lago by the same Secret Service that guarded the White House.
That's right.
So I don't choose to do that and release it to the archivists. Now, next bloody thing on that is, while we whoopee, what are we talking about here when we say he released this classified information that was prepared? No, it wasn't prepared for anybody else. NSA and the CIA, who prepared some of these documents, their chartered mandate says to analyze intelligence information, quote, to brief the president of the United States. So every one of these documents was provided for his use. And if he read them, he might have an eidetic memory like me or President Clinton, and he's memorized them. You can't take them out of his head. So what did he do? But meanwhile, I told you, I went through the downloads for these 3 laptops. And there is dialogue in these laptops, emails where Biden Sr. and Biden Jr. are talking about directing Chinese representatives to this home and check behind the vet. So where did we find the secret documents removed by the vice president? Behind the vet, in the garage, in the box. So under the
besides the Corvette.
Yeah. Under the Constitution, the vice president has no authority to declassify. So he's in violation, but nothing's done to him. Meanwhile, we lapse into Article 2, Section 4 for bribery, treason, misdemeanors and felonies in office. A person can be impeached, and if convicted, removed from office, and under the 12th Amendment, he can't run again. So we've got somebody looking at that clear violation of the American law. Congress screwed up. The House, anyway, when they went after Trump the second time to return articles of impeachment when he was no longer president for something he did as president. And that's a precedent to go after Biden for something he did as a vice president, even though he no longer holds that position. See,
well, I want to ask you something, Judge. I want to ask you something while you're on that piece, because I want to insert this and maybe you can tie it all together with what you're about to say. When we're looking at that, what is it when it's a senator and he's got 1,875 boxes of documents that are now, they're in the University of Delaware, that their Supreme Court just said, nope, they can stay there. The university under FOIA would not give those documents up. I think it was to Judicial Watch's President Fenton, I believe. And then I think it was a news agency that had requested several years ago those documents. And they were while Biden was a senator. It's over 1,875 boxes, as well as a couple of laptops that belong to his son. And then there's also a cache of information that's on a drive or something. How does that juxtaposition of that?
Son of a bitch does not need to be allowed to get back in office, and we need to cut these fascists these National Socialist Workers Party types,
Mm-hmm.
aka Nazis, off from getting any further power, because now it's a principle of forget Trump, forget Biden. But what is really being done that Biden is fostering is implementation of a fascist form of government.
Absolutely.
Now, on this further, let's go to the latest indictment for January 6th. The
Mm-hmm.
First Amendment says the right to assemble
Mm-hmm.
and petition the government for redress of grievance shall not be abridged.
Mm-hmm.
It's been held over and over again by the U.S. Supreme Court that this petition does not have to be in writing. It could be a protest or a demonstration.
Okay.
It's been held over and over again that a person may use strong language in advocacy when he deals with making protest. It's been held over and over again that because one part of a demonstration gets unruly and violates public peace, dignity, and order and commits crime, that does not mean that the person who spoke to them is responsible unless it was his specific intent to cause the action that occurred that becomes offensive. So everything they're going after him for is protected by constitutional right. And it's been long established, ain't nothing new. So what are you going after him for? This is why they have the Bill of Rights. People think these are criminal rights. They're not criminal rights. They're citizen rights to be free from the use of government power and authority for political, social, and economic oppression. That's what the Federalist Papers are talking about, which was some pamphlets that were done, very voluminous ones, to get the Republic to adopt the Bill of Rights, which was ratified in February 1791. The Constitution was ratified in 1789. So all of this stuff was clearly laid forth in writing if somebody was enterprising enough to read it. And you're going to indict somebody for something that he had an absolute right to do under the First Amendment that was not unconstitutional, and they want to take what was 180 people and try to turn it into an insurrection against the country. Now, at my age, I remember the 60s when you had a protest, it wasn't a protest with 180, 250 people. You had to have 10,000, 20,000 folk. You had to have 6,000, 7,000 folk for it to be a protest. You're talking about a
Absolutely.
handful of people committing misdemeanor trespass. Except
Absolutely.
they want to ramp the charges up. So what are we doing here? Where are we letting these fascists go? This is Reichstag, 1932, where these clowns burnt down their own parliament building,
Mm-hmm.
framed somebody, and what they wanted was emergency powers to try and be able to authoritatively run their government with no dissent. And what
Yes.
you have right now in Trump's name, since they're assuming they will get support from at least some of the people, oh, he's a Trump, he's bad, he's a racist, and we need a blah, 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 blah. Well, fact of the matter is the racist bastard is known as Joe Biden. And if
Exactly.
it's when I first heard him in 1972 give one of the most racist dog speeches I've ever heard anybody give in my life, when he was on stage with Stennis, Eastland, Faubus, that's the clown that stood in the door of Little Rock High School and said, there'll not be a nigger in this high school as long as I'm governor of Arkansas. We'll see to in all of that nonsense. And you got Wallace even showed up supporting him. I think he was in a wheelchair then. And all of these clowns talking about this is the great hope for the Dixiecrats. And this fool gave a speech talking about he was embarrassed by Delaware, his adopted state, not withdrawing from the Union and going with the Confederacy to maintain slavery, because that was the only thing that kept Negro animals in check. And how Negro animals turned the streets into jungles, and he and Eastland were going to put them in zoos. And meanwhile, speaking of zoos, Negro children are animals, and they turned schools into zoos. And that was some of the least offensive parts of that bastard speech. So I heard him. That was in
But you know what? I'm going to say this because to me, the problem that I have with that whole entire deal is that for whatever reason, people seem to just forget. They get this propaganda that's just shoved down their throats over and over again via media, and they begin to believe whatever they want to believe. But here's my only piece about this. I remember this man referring to us as roaches in a public speech. I remember him and back during the crime bill. I remember all the things that he said and how he stood up and he gave these long, eloquent speeches about how, he didn't want his mother or his wife to get hit upside the head by these animals and all this other stuff. And I just don't understand how people could look at that and think that everything was a-okay. Now, in tandem with that, I don't consider the person that we looking at every day him. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they had already hauled him off to Guantanamo and got rid of him and put somebody up there with a mask. Just saying. I just don't get how this cat is allowed to even exist, especially in light of the fact that they are continuously using. And again, I'm not on the right side or the left side. I can just see a situation and make my decision based on what I see. We're looking
Black
at
people are not the same as they were 50 years ago.
I don't get it.
We are not what we were 50 years ago. That welfare check where people went off and had babies to get the check, not check for the babies. I have been practicing law for a half century, one way or the other, mostly dealing with criminal law. Let's say if you had a black population this high, this little bit down here was this dysfunctional bunch where they talk all this stupid nonsense. Nowadays, it's like that. But this much of it is the dysfunction, and only about that much is the functionality. We don't think like we used to. So, Massa sure been good to us. He give us extra things to eat. Sure do. We loves us some Massa. Oh, yes, we do. See, the only reason black folk went Democratic in the first place, starting with FDR, then there was Truman, and then Kennedy took advantage of it, and LBJ became great white daddy in the White House. That was for economic reasons, and LBJ had the sense of pushing the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, which, by the way, is not technically a civil rights bill.
Thank you.
It's a military bill. He said, you're going to get a Negroes what they want this time, and I'm going to make it look like a bunch of commie-loving bastards if you go against it, because he said, well, there's the defense of the United States, and whereas the morale of the troops, and whereas the whatever in the South, whereas base commanders can't keep the morale up because whereas the armed services are integrated, be it resolved, we need this Civil Rights Act to preserve our ability to resist totalitarianism and communism in the world. That's how he got it over. So he also had a black son. I met him.
Who had a black son?
LBJ. And he had another white son outside. He had the white son, no relationship to me, to Marie Brown. I talked to her for hours before she died. She introduced me to her son. Looked just like LBJ. He also, this child was born 1965. 1966, he had a son born to the black White House secretary. He looked just like LBJ with a slight suntan. So, I mean,
like Clinton's black son looks so much like him.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing about LBJ. See, LBJ had a dog, and the sheriff jacked his dog around. So LBJ decided he was going to get into politics. So what he'd already done in Texas was set up a limited private school with Hispanics and black folk, teaching them how to read and write and be literate. He was one of the teachers. So he took advantage of that situation and organized them, got them registered to vote. So he got a bunch of his buddies to get pickup trucks, picked the blacks and the Hispanics up, and they voted him into office. So that's how he got started in politics. And he made an interesting speech on his State of the Union. He said, some people are going to be really disturbed by what I'm going to do. He says, he went through this thing about how each state, he said, but I represent all the people of the United States of America, including the Negroes and everybody else. So all citizens of this country are going to be treated as they ought to be treated under my administration. And he shocked a lot of people. And when he didn't run for re-election, a lot of black folk got disheartened, and that was it. Went downhill.
I want to change the gears a little bit. I got this clip that I want you to react to. And when I watched this clip, I was like, wow. This really kind of like teed me off when I watched this.
A dick. I was a good husband. I'm a good father. I have 50-50 custody of my kids. I'm not even divorced yet. Speaking with my attorney today, she basically gets all of my shit. She cheated. She put another dude before her fucking family. She left. Mommy and daddy buys her a fucking house. I'm losing my house for my kids and have to go rent a tiny house now, which is whatever. That's fine. That's great. But I have 50-50 custody. She makes good money. Her dude makes good money that they live together with in the house that mommy and daddy bought. But yet I have to pay fucking child support and basically give her all of my shit. So she gets a fucking reward for cheating and fucking over her entire family. The legal system is fucking rigged. All I have to say is our legal system is fucking.
What is your thoughts on that, Judge?
Well, okay, what you're looking at is a residuum of some very sexist attitudes. In other words, a woman is supposed to be at home with her parents. Her new husband comes along and takes her from her family home and moves her in with him. He stands in, so she's essentially an overgrown child that needs protection and provision. So even though we have normalization of rights, we do not have normalization of concurrent obligation. So the legal system is still replete with this de facto sexist thing of women are not really equal in terms of their ability to provide for themselves. So men tend to get jacked around in the system because of the residual carryover of this kind of attitude. So it is what it is, and I'm not surprised this happens all the time. But there are places where they go overboard the other way, so it's not healthy. So we've got a lot of work to do on this. And I find it interesting, some of the most active feminists I know unconsciously depend upon the indulgence of men to a very, very high degree. So it's kind of a schizophrenic thing. You're talking about you don't need men, men are the evil and men are this, but you depend on men to provide you with the opportunity to even express that. Now, men and women are not equal
at all,
but they have equality of value.
Absolutely.
So we have to understand that a lot of times it is unhealthy if we, resent the call of duty. You know, Mother Nature is what it is, and we have to get the next generation here. So even though we are sentient and can think and get educated and philosophical, somewhere in here, it's like men have to answer the call and defend the walls of the village or the fortress or stand up and keep the dangerous predators from having one of us for lunch, breakfast, dinner, or a late night snack. Well, there are some things too. I'm sorry, men can't do them, so women get called on them. And there's some things women can't do that men get called on to do, and it doesn't work right when I don't feel like being this, or whatever it is. I want to cop out. It gets bad. See, we think in the wrong terms. The tiger used to be king of the jungle. Now he's endangered. Send $19 a month to World Wildlife.
Bunch of stuff.
The whales, they're being hunted into an endangered situation. Send $19 a month to World Wildlife Fund. Poor Oscar, chained in a kennel in the backyard in the cold. He does not know love. Spend $19 a month to the Society to Prevent Cruelty to Animals. Poor Jamal, he is cast out, he is mistreated. Send $19 a month to Save a Negro Fund. Damn, what's wrong with us? We're humans. We thrive on adversity. In later years, we brag about how we faced it. So now nothing's supposed to be adversity. Nothing, everything's supposed to be handed to you. Hell, earn it. What did you do? That sounds boring as crap. You get to be old and everything's been handed to you. What did you do with it except be a pampered poodle? Roll over on your back to get your tummy rubbed and shit. You know, and that's what's wrong with too many of us. We like to wag our tail, boss, can I have some treats? But boss, you know I like those over there. Yeah, boss, I've been good. You know, you ain't done nothing for me economically in a long, but I remember the plantation. Oh Lord, yes, I don't want to leave. I feel so good. Y'all take such good care of me.
But you know what, Judge? You're absolutely right.
To save a Negro.
You're right. I think the biggest slap in the face for women, well, actually, the biggest form, it's an oxymoron, if you ask me, because they say we're equal to men. And now everybody get to see when you got a man in the wrestling ring, which you're beating the crap out of you, or a man that's out there on the, that's out there racing you and racing on the track and he beating you behind. Now, do you see why we're not equal? And that we don't have equal balance like that?
You're not equal in that, but you have equal value because men can't give birth. Oh, that's unfair. You can't call them birth parents, not mothers. Screw you. Just because you a sick son of a bitch running around, don't like what you are and you hate yourself, don't badmouth the women who accept it. And now you see what's going on. You got a punk ass who, instead of listening, boys don't hit girls, he wants to get in the ring. I guess he doesn't like his mom and doesn't like the fact that he is a punk, and he wants to beat up on you. That still doesn't change the fact your ass is a punk. Okay, varsity, sit your dumb ass stands and cheer, and no, it doesn't mean putting on a pettiskirt down there and get to hiking your legs up. But no, you don't look like a girl, don't want to look at you, and by the way, don't like you much because you ruined my favorite sport. You know what it is? Same thing was for a lot of women, the opposite. It's called girl watching and boy watching. You can't do it because you don't know what the hell you're looking at.
It's mental illness at the highest degree. They even took this out of is it the DSR 4 or the 5? Which I forget which one it was, but they actually took this mindset out of it altogether because they knew they were going to unleash the loonies. I don't know. I'm a little done.
Well, they 2 points. They said they gave a lot of those dudes some type of hormones to weaken the bone density, something like y'all know what I'm trying to say. Density of their bones, the strength of their bones. And then one more video that I want you to react to, basically what you just said, Mr. Judge.
You don't have to say Mr. The Judge is a title. I got a certificate after my second 8-year election victory from the governor. Said, henceforth and forever you may use the title Judge as part of your official status, title, and honorific. So, Mr. or Judge or lawyer or doctor, whatever, all it works. So since we're talking here, I don't care. You can use the first name. Just don't get some of these little 17-year-olds in the habit. I might have to do a smackdown on one of them.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know you, boy. You too damn young.
Judge Joe Brown's Cash App is $ Judge Joe Brown 2023. If you'd like to contribute to his campaign, or to him personally, I should say. Personal, give it to that number. Then we'll give you the information for the campaign shortly.
And also on top of that, JJB barbecue sauce. If you guys want to order some of that good old fashioned down south Memphis, Tennessee barbecue sauce, is pinned to the chat. The link is pinned
And
to
he's
the
got
chat.
the meats.
He got the
Oh, by
meat.
the way, Tiffany Haddish is an investor, and she and I have got some crazy commercials that are coming out shortly. So it's on the shelves in some states now. So check it out.
Very good. Very good.
Shout out to the judge with the barbecue sauce. One more video. Well, according to how these women been feeling when it comes to men and stuff like that, I just want you guys to hear what these women had to say. My bad.
And now there's a new flavor of nigga out called incel.
You're right. We don't need black men. We are the most educated demographic in this country right now. We have started more business than any demographic in this country right now. We're doing great. We don't need anyone.
We was never going to date you anyway.
Usually it's black men, because black men are the only ones who seem to have a difficult time with, caring for someone other than themselves.
You can't ask any of the male contacts that for money. Yes, it is time. Block, 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 block. The wax lady, your hairstylist, your landlord, your phone bill. Payment method is not good morning.
If you don't feel like you can help out with me and my kid, then we don't have anything to talk about.
For all you pick-me-shoes out there cooking and cleaning and making your boyfriends giant plates of food, ask yourself, why are you doing all these things that wives barely even do?
If a guy is looking to tickle your fancy, let him spend some money.
It's guys out there who want you, right? But won't spend $100 on you. But mad because you talk to a new dude who spend money on you. He spend money, you don't. I'm doing us both a favor.
When I'm in a relationship, I don't believe in spending my money on my man. His money is for me. My money is for me.
Black men are giving black women AIDS at a very high rate. Black men are unaliving black women at a very high rate. And now there's a new flavor of nigga out called incel.
You're right.
What is your thoughts on that? What is your thoughts?
They hate women. They're women haters. They want to kill them. So, yeah, a lot of black men are joining it. Let me run this by them. If you don't like the men you deal with, go ask your mama why she fucked them up, or your aunt why she fucked them up, or their girls why they fucked them up, or your grandmammy why she fucked them up.
Right.
See, you had no men around to raise them properly. It was your friend girls, your mammies, and your aunties that did it. So go ask the women in your life why they fucked up the men that you can't deal with. Now let's look at what's going on over the last 20 years. These are the average statistics for that 20-year period. Only 28% of each year's high school graduates are male. One. Only 32% of each year's college undergrads are male. That's two. Only 36% of each year's college grad students are male. That's number three. And this is for white, black, brown, red, yellow, not just black folk. And when you get past that, only 44% of the workforce is male. So what the hell happened? Okay, for 50 years, they've had take your daughter to work week, not one goddamn take your son to work day. Next thing, there are more male virgins 25 years of age and under than there are female virgins. That's for all of America, all ethnicities, and black folk too. For 30 and under, there are more boys that stay at home than there are girls. What the hell's happened, and where do we get it? Oh, well, he ran off and left it. No, that ain't quite how it works. You have too much of this, you don't need a man, so just get knocked up so you can be a mama, and then you don't know what the hell to do on the 50-50 dice thrower having a young male versus a young female. So you say men ain't shit, they ain't worth this, they ain't worth that. I hear you, girlfriend. Question needs to be asked. So do you want your sons to be normal? Yeah. Well, then how the hell you gonna raise them if you don't know what they're supposed to be good for? So you see, it becomes be careful what the hell you ask for. You just might get it, but you might screw somebody else up in the prospect. Now, my motto has been protecting womanhood and childhood while promoting manhood, so you get more men to do the same. You see, man and woman are titles. You have to earn them. You start off being male, female. What's that mean? DNA tells no lies about what's supposed to be between the thighs. In spite of you being a damn fool and not liking what you are, that's a reality. So when you deal with that, if you are a male or female who grows up appropriately, has a certain amount of character about you, you can be a man or a woman, biology permitting. Next thing is if you are a refined man or a woman, you become a gentleman or a lady. So we have to deal with the fact that this is not a participation ribbon thing. There are first place, second place, third place finishes, and it's competitive. The world is competitive. You know, it's not about what you want all the time. It's not about be all you can be. It's about being what you ought to be. See, and if you want to cop out, cut your stuff off and get inverted and all that other nonsense because you want to fake it, well, something's wrong with you. That's kind of like, mommy, 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 I want to be a snake, mommy. Oh, honey, hold on. Mommy will have your arms amputated and your legs too so you can squirm like a snake. Just hang
Gonna
on.
be a plushy toy next. You know what I think?
Mommy, I'm a bird.
I'm a bird.
Let's see if you can fly. Jump off that 5th floor building.
You know what, Judge? I'm going to say this from a woman's standpoint. The way that I see all of these women who run their mouths and run their mouths, we're dealing with a lot of women who were messed up by their mama, being that single woman, kicking the daddy out, listening to all the negativity, listening to the grandmama's negativity, the aunts, the neighbors, and everybody else who came around. And the problem that I see right now is a lot of the women, the preponderance of the Black women who've been educated, who've gone to school, do not realize that while they are in those indoctrination camps, they did not know how to divide out what was the garbage that they were being indoctrinated with in conjunction with tying that stuff to mama, right? They didn't know how to divide that stuff out and think for themselves. All of these women, I guarantee you that if I were to sit down with them and have a conversation, you would find out that there was a bevy of abuse that went on at the hand of their mother's neglect for watching them, for making sure that they did what they were supposed to do to become ladies. Most of the mothers didn't know how to be ladies themselves. And so when I hear women talk like that, it really gets my goat, because here's the deal, whether a lot of people know it or not, white, black, purple, or otherwise, a lot of these women are now divesting and going over to the white side, trying to see whose son over there they can mess up. Yeah. They have left the Black dudes now, and they have now audibly said on TikTok and on YouTube and on Instagram that they're no longer looking for the Black guy. Now they're looking to jack up some white folks' kids. So to be candid, this is a situation that we need, and I have been speaking out about the stupid treachery that's going on in the Black community more now than I have publicly in a long time. Being a conservative commentator puts me in a position where I automatically look like I lean a certain direction, although I know that the people who watch me know that I'm not. I have found myself more now attacking the stuff that's going on, from the chicken Dubai all the way to the woman who lied about the baby doll out on the road or whatever, all the way to, this gal running down the road in Houston, with her child in the vehicle with her and then holding her up as a human shield. All of these stupid things that we are doing need to stop. And so I believe that if more women who feel the way that I do begin to speak up and say something, hopefully, not always, it won't always work, but hopefully it'll jar some of that stupidity off of them, especially the women who know doggone good and well they shouldn't be talking like
I
that.
agree with you. I love women. I mean, after all, amongst other things, women are the sole source and supply of nookie on the planet Earth. So, dang.
So, Judge, before you tag on to it, I know you're gonna cook it up, right? I want to say this.
I want to hear the rest of this, though. Please, Jay Prince. I want to hear where he going after the nookie comment.
Well,
you got to follow that up.
let me say this. In 1967 and 68, Nikki Giovanni, the poet, came to UCLA and spoke to 10,000 people each time, Paulie Pavilion. She came over and visited the Black Student Union on campus. We had some very nasty, vile things to say to her about her advocacy for girls. If you want to be mothers, you don't need a male bastard to F up your children. Pick someone who's tall, handsome, and smart, athletic. Fuck him, get knocked up, and then don't even tell the bastard, because the worst thing you can do is that bring a father into the life of a child.
See?
Men don't do anything except fuck the children up. So one of the sisters said, you need to be fucked up. You know.
Speak for yourself.
And I remember I spent $25,000 on, I think it was 2 tables at a UCLA Black alumni function when I was doing my show, and then found out it was Nikki Giovanni. I canceled the damn checks and wrote a 3-page letter explaining why the hell I was saying hell no. From 1967 to 68, both years, when she came in and spread that poison. Something was wrong with her. She had problems. Meanwhile, we listened to people who fostered this. Like, what was that big basketball player that made 3 times as much in Russia, that brought in hash oil? By the way, in Tennessee, she would have gotten a year more time than the Russians gave her. And then we use up the trade of the merchant of death for what?
Trash.
And then we get the vice president of the United States coming out and talking about somebody who's selling a Schedule 1 drug, bringing a bunch of it. I mean, that was a serious amount she brought in through an international airport. What kind of dumb fuck are you to be bringing that kind of heavy drugs through in a, you know, you got to be dumb. It ain't like the first time you've been there. I mean, and we trade the merchant of death for this. And they have all of these American spies and stuff locked up that are going to be put on a wall and shot probably. And we didn't work anything out for them, but you get a Schedule 1 drug transporter who's got hashish oil, and she's selling it knowing it's a felony. What the hell are we wasting our time for? You know, I mean, I've resented that. I've tried to be fair to people that came in front of me for sentencing. I tried to earnestly represent people, but I'm looking at it like I took an oath to uphold this stuff. This is a waste. This is no political prisoner. This is a pampered poodle on the long side.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I want to add to that? I've been getting a lot of pushback because I've been saying, like, because now the blame has been on black men, and even though they chose welfare, and like I tell them flat out, I said, no, the way the black community is, I don't think this is a black man responsibility, and I feel offended that y'all women in the government decides to blame us when the woman in the government fought tooth and nail to keep us away. So when they say, well, you're supposed to be the leader, I said, no, y'all had another option. Yeah, y'all come from black men, but y'all had 2 options of leadership. Y'all chose the government and the white man to be your leader. So since the government is not, excuse my French, not fucking with you and don't give a care about your community or your black community, and it looked like you got to take some responsibility as a black woman, you want to put that responsibility off on us. And as a black man, and I'm standing 10 toes down and saying, no, this is not, I don't have nothing to do with this community, how black men turned out. Also, like, they've been pushing back. I said, well, Y'all dish, you get whatever you did in life. Y'all dish y'all consequences, and the consequences that y'all are getting today, black men disrespecting you, black men going upside your head, black men cheating on you, your sons cussing you out, your daughters and them cussing you out, they beating you up. Why? Because you fought tooth and nail to keep the black man from the house. And now you saying your sons is reading at a fourth grade read level, your sons is feminine, your sons is in the grave, your sons is in prison. Well, that's your fault. So that's not the, you can't blame, or you want to cherry pick what leader when you want to take up leader, when you want to call the black man a leader. Only time y'all called us a leader is when we got to put up with your consequences, far as like how the community turned out, how your son in the grave, all this other, when there's something bad. But when the black man say, no, I'm from the lead and I'm from to come in the house and I'm raising my kids and all the other type of stuff, and what you would do, you would go to that government, get us up out of here. So I truly believe that black men should fall back on trying to correct this community that the government and the black woman messed up.
Well, you know what? I don't hold it against the black women. They needed guidance. Women give advisement, but they need guidance. And here's the thing. It's just I'm not following any woman when it comes to leadership unless it's on a minor level. I have black female, white female, lawyers, doctors, dentists, all that kind of good stuff. But I'm not following one in the battle. They can give it up. That is not going to happen. And the other thing, I didn't ask you, I'll still die to protect you. But look what you're doing. You want to be a mother and you want to have children. So that means you're going to hate 50% of what might come out of your body. So what's that say about yourself? Self-hate. So you better check yourself and see why you so off into self-hate, because that's what it was. See, I remember I'm black and I'm proud. Black power.
Mm-hmm.
Now you talking about you hate what you are? Well, I love it because I'm a woman. You do you?
Right.
I want to hear it. I got some young Democrats, most of whom were lesbians, females here in Memphis, upset. Since there's never been a black woman mayor of Memphis, if a black woman was a good candidate, would you withdraw in her favor so we could get our first black woman mayor? No. Huh?
What in the Lori Lightfoot?
So, excuse me. I said, let me put it to you this way. I said, there's some things the next mayor has to do, which include getting up close and personal with a whole lot of elements that you can't go in front of without getting snatched into a vacant apartment and raped. You don't need to be where I am, but I'll welcome you to enjoy the benefits. Wait till I settle it out. Oh my God. Less than 24 hours later, rich young white woman wouldn't listen to anybody, and she wanted to go jogging at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, which was her habit. She got kidnapped, brutally raped, then tortured afterwards, and then murdered. And then it turned out that some shyster female, who was the elected DA at the time, who was held to be the most corrupt in America, had neglected to get tested almost 28,000 rape kits. And if they had tested a rape kit instead of the sleazy heifer trying to make money out of the deal, well, they would have caught this guy who raped a black woman, allegedly, some much prior to that. But you see, that's that thing. You want to do all this and that, but there's a reality to the world. There's stuff out there that's dangerous. And one woman got on me at this thing. She says, I was in South Africa. I said, no, screw that shit. You're talking shit. She called me up a few weeks later. Oh my God, what's the matter with you? Calm down. Oh my God. I was doing this thing. You know, I do assessments for zoning variances. And, oh my God, I was in this apartment looking at this building. Oh my God. Calm down. What happened? The police wound up knocking on the door. I said, yeah, what about? What did they want you for? It's not me. Somebody just came in off the street, broke into the apartment next door, raped and killed that woman. And I thought I heard something. Oh my God. I said, well, see, that's what I'm talking about. You wanted to disregard that. I'll tell you where it works out. I like Nookie, okay? So I got to accommodate the sole source and supply of Nookie on the planet Earth. At least Nookie I can deal with. So I got to do what I got to do. But on the other
Protected
hand,
at all costs.
not at all costs, within reason. But on the other hand, there is this. 2:17 a.m. in the morning, you got a nice job as a female executive at a great company, and you're in your 2-story condo. Oh, great. And you got your Mercedes in your garage, and you've just finished this nice novel, and you're smiling because you're going to give the presentation at 9 o'clock to corporate, and you haven't finished all of your Chablis and you put it on the nightstand, and with a smile on your face, you turn the light out. Well, about 15 minutes later, you are aroused because you hear the crash of breaking glass on the first floor. Now, goddamn it, wouldn't you love to have a capable man laying up there next to you to go down and see what the hell that was? Or would you want one you could have hide under the bed while you went to bed?
Yeah,
Or could you take your ass down there and go deal with somebody?
we tell her
Look,
go take the dough.
not only do I get to rob this place, I get nookie too. What the hell?
But hey, Judge, to Ms. Lockhart's point, when she say black women is going to like other races of men, I like to say the only reason why they would choose, the reason why black women do that because they try to find another man to pull up their bullshit.
Well, they done jacked up all the black brothers. Now they going over
Yeah,
to the
and since
white men,
black
and
men,
they're saying it.
and since
Remember
black men
mamas,
not fighting,
grannies, and aunties, and friend girls, they jacked up all the boys, which is why they can't find one. So you want to make it worse? Yeah. I don't, I see, I got this thing. Personally, my job to be willing to stand in and, if necessary, go down with the damn Titanic and give up my place in the lifeboat to the women and children. That's just me. Took a lot of practice and all of that. And the idea has been around for a long time. But it's a damn fool idea to be down in half the human race because you can't get it. Did you see those women talking that shit?
Yeah, they were crazy.
That wouldn't exactly be my first choice. I mean, 35 years ago, I might have gotten a little taste of the nookie, but it wasn't likely to be good nookie to begin with. So what's their point? They aren't going to be good women. They're not likely to be good mamas. They're likely to be a headache. So who wants them? So the bottom line is they're lonely. And there's another little thing. What's the hardest thing an adult human has to learn to do?
bump their head.
Probably get along with the opposite sex. So if you tell them they don't have to get along with the opposite sex, that takes off a hell of a burden from their list of things that need to be done. If they want to go get a white boy, what are they? They're black pussy. They're exotic. And they can take advantage of being exotic pussy for some white person. So they'll get treated like an exotic piece of ass until somebody finds out the headache they are. So, I mean, I guess it's the market, but isn't that kind of being a hoe? And one of the things we got right now is we got too much with the pimp and hoe game.
See,
my goodness.
I like to say this, when they get with other races of men, they know how to behave themselves, conduct themselves. See, black men, they put on a front for other races of men, but we know them. We've been knowing them since the beginning of the time of black people. We've been around them. We know them. So they can put on a front. They want us to tolerate bull crap, but and put up with that. And since black men say, no, we ain't having that no more. Now you want us, instead of correcting the problem, you want to go to the white man and be on your best behavior, basically living a lie, like you not this ghetto ratchet chick.
But
well, let me say this. I won't elaborate, but I actually did research with a DC think tank. The year is 1972. I've got tired eyes sitting in the Library of Congress reading this microfilm stuff. And there really was a William Lynch. The first article I read was published 1708, and what he was doing as a plantation owner in the Bermuda portion of the English North American colonies. He was raising slaves, and he was going around giving lectures on how to raise slaves since it was a new thing then. And you ought to read what he said about the role of black women in the process of enslavement. He said, you need to understand that the process is similar to raising horses. And the way to raise horses is to enlist the mare in domesticating her own foals for you. You must enlist the Negro female in the process of enslaving her children. She will do a great service to you if you enlist her in the process, like the mare will do for your horse raising. Now, my ex-wife, fine as she used to be, or still is, I guess.
Yeah, she's a
but
pretty
she's
lady.
trifling, can't get her stuff together. She's about 60 now, and she still hasn't jailed, but we raised horses. And I will tell you, if you got the female horse to stay around her foal, she would quasi domesticate the horse for you. If you took the horse away or you acquired a new foal who was removed from the mother, you would have a harder time domesticating that horse. So the point is, be careful when you start talking some shit, because you might be saying more about yourself than you are about the target of your spleen.
Thank you.
Because your ass is too tacky to have figured it out, don't blame everybody else for it. Black men can be great. Plus, the whole thing is women are very inspirational. I mean, thankfully, you're trying to get good nookie. There are a whole lot of things good nookie can get you inspired to do. I mean, it could be amazingly.
Now, Judge, I got to hold y'all accountable for this, though, Judge. The elder generation of black men, right now, I've been getting a whole lot of pushback of black men becoming stepfathers, and I say stepfathers is one enabling women from their responsibilities and important choices that they have. No doubt, right? Now, all I want is like her. Now, then, not only that they enable their bull crap, because I asked them, I said, well, because every time I ask stepfathers why they there, they said because we want the kids, so you want to bring the community together. You want somebody, them kids got to have a father figure. Well, I said those adoption agencies that got kids that don't have a mother nor a father, also they commit the most crimes because they don't have no type of guidance. Where's these black fathers at? Why? I believe because there's no booty on the table. There's no round brown. And then typically most stepfathers have children of their own. So a lot of times they be neglecting their biological children to be with this woman. And this is what they taught us to be a woman's to play, to basically enable. Not only she gonna be getting money from the government.
Okay.
Got a man to come in and give her money.
Okay. There is a biological imperative here that's being ignored, and it is what it is. But now, if the guy has been in a relationship, it might be at a time medical facilities aren't what they ought to be, and somebody dies, he's a widower. Somebody might be a widow. Then you got the thing about divorce thrown in later on, and then you got this other thing where they got stuck on stupid. They listened to a Nikki Giovanni and they bought a bill of goods that kept them from having to work. Was not work in terms of a job that you get paid for, but work in terms of personal effort, where we don't compete for first, second, or third place. We talk about this insane nonsense about objectification of beauty, but humans have always done that. Otherwise, I guess we'd still be looking like a caveman, a woman, or a chimpanzee or something, instead of what we look like now if we didn't objectify beauty. And speaking of stuff, did you see the action that Lizzo's dancers filed against her. I like to laugh my ass
That
off.
was hilarious. That's
Yeah.
boy.
So anyway, you see, we have all of these efforts to get away from the fact that it is a competitive world. And excellence is rewarded, capability, capacity, talent, application, all kinds of things can give their rewards. But you see, when you grow up in an entitled world where everything's supposed to be handed to you, you think that, so you object to somebody objectifying you, you object to somebody demanding reciprocity from you. You talk nonsense. These women were talking about, I'm not giving any money up to any man, but then they're talking about, well, who are you hanging with? Or you better come up with this money. Well, you're playing hold in, you're playing gold digger. So
Exactly.
what in the hell are you describing yourself that way for if you think about it?
Absolutely.
And is why do you have all of the glamour?
They call themselves hypergamy.
What the hell do you look like for real? And I always say this, the true test of a woman's beauty is what she looks like 5 minutes after getting up after a hard night, not what you look like after you've had a glamour or makeup artist do what you do. You know, it's kind of funny.
Thank God all I have on is eyeliner and lipstick right
Well,
now,
you
because I'd
looking
be in
good,
trouble.
sister. I mean, you look appealing. You look like a real woman. You mean somebody could get excited about you. You know, and then you get this nonsense that like the little plastic Barbie dolls. Oh, they made that one back into a movie, didn't they? The Barbie movie. I mean, did they fuck in this movie? I mean,
I don't know,
they're
but
not anatomically correct like Ken and Barbie the dolls are. You know what
yeah,
time is it?
yeah.
So I mean,
Before
it's excuse my language,
no,
but
no,
I
no,
get
I
mad.
understand.
I grew up in South Central LA.
I know. Listen, before my team and I roll out, I want to ask you a question as it relates to what Jay Prince was just talking about. Under the proposed Reparations Act in the state of California, they have a codicil in there, and I haven't delved in it too deep, but it does state that they would like to see child support for fathers abolished, for Black fathers abolished. I know that child support has been doled out in an unfair manner, and that a lot of these men are paying child support without necessarily having any DNA tests done. If the mother says so, then they put them on papers and then they try to, figure it out later. How do you feel about that as an alternative? I personally believe that it should be visited a different way. I believe that if the man gonna pay, it better be his.
Let me say this. The whole thing is a piece of quasi-Hollywood California bullshit. You know, in California, you get 2,500 signatures, and what do you have? A ballot initiative.
There you go.
54% of your population is Hispanic. Do you think they will not put a ballot initiative out there to defeat what the Reparations Act sounds like? Do you think it would survive constitutional challenge where, what is it, San Francisco was talking about 9 to 9.5 million payout to each Black person in San Francisco? They're too damn broke to get the dog crap picked up off the side.
And the human excrement, for that matter.
Yeah, and get the needles removed. So where they're going to get the money, and then it's got to survive court attack, got to survive ballot initiatives. It ain't going to happen. They're just talking crap. So we show loves our master. We ain't going to get it, but they was thinking about us. Lord have mercy. They so good. Or then you get the spastic with Black folk out in California. Hey, man, we talk like we're, man, like, hey, man. Like, damn, you sound like a Valley girl or something. What's the matter with
Straight out of Northridge.
Yeah. And this is California, man. They got South Central, man. What's wrong with you?
Well, now they've got the.
I just have to be raised like that.
Now they've got that. I just want to add this little piece, please. Now they've got the bill 4321, which is like a countdown, if you ask me, that's coming. I believe it was one of the senators out of Texas who has submitted this. to say that if any state gives reparations to anybody, that they will not receive any federal funds for any emergency or anything. They won't get any
No,
federal funds.
well,
That's
their
one of that
due
they have.
process of law, and the problem is this. Let me tell you what the real problem is. I'd like reparations. If anybody can figure it out, let me know. But what I listen to is nonsense. First off, what happened is each of us got individually and collectively wrong. Our
Okay.
ancestors did. Generally in America, where there's a personal wrong, you have a 1 or 2 year statute of limitations to do something about it. Okay, slavery has been gone since 1865. How many hundred years? That's 158 years. It's been a while. All right, statute of limitations is long run. Okay, anyway, when there's a personal injury, it does not survive the demise of the perpetrator of the personal injury. That's American law. Okay. Next thing, if you're talking about collective, you have to find the cause of action. There ain't none. So what's going to happen is it's going to have to be a legislative matter, because you can't sue a sovereign entity without their permission. So somebody will have to have an enablement act. And then when you get an enablement act, you have to have a financial component to it. So you have an appropriations act that goes along with the enablement act, where they appropriate the money. Now, how much money do they need? I'd say at least $500,000 for all survivors, assuming you can include yourself in a class, which has to be determined. What are you going to do? 25% black ancestry is the cutoff, 30%, 50%. Well, guess what? There are a lot of blonde-haired, blue-eyed folk that if you gave them a DNA test, they'd have
Thank you.
35% black in them.
Thank you.
Don't look it. In their families, where you can see that jet black on one spectrum, you got 11 children, and one of them is blonde haired, blue eyed, and they all have the same mom and dad, and they ain't been cheating on each other. So, yeah, you have these things. So, which one gets it? You have to make a determination. How long do they have to have been here? Are you talking about the discrimination from Jim Crow, segregation, the nonsense that folk like me have been through in lifetime? You know, used to be when you grew up in LA, South Central LA wasn't even called that. And we couldn't go through Inglewood safely after dark. When I was
Absolutely.
in my early 20s, it was not done. I remember being in Disneyland area, working for the state. I'm driving a state vehicle. 2 other people, we got credentials. We're doing some stuff for some science professors wanting to get stuff out of a lab. Cop in Anaheim, exactly 2 blocks from the start of the parking lot for Disneyland. He said, "Gentlemen, is there a problem?" I said, "Well, yeah, we got lost." He says, "What is the address?" He says, "I know what that is. The problem is it's in an alley. It's down this way." And he gave us directions. He said, "Now, it's about 4:45. It gets dark here about 5:15, 5:30. Now, if you're still here when it's dark, it's not going to be sir. It's going to be nigger. Do you understand me? So make your errand quick." So that's Disneyland. You know,
That's Anaheim.
That's Anaheim. So people don't get that, and they la di da di dee dee da bop bop. You know, and then we glorify and ideate on the wrong things. Panther Party did this thing where the Bay Area went off and demonstrated with shotguns in front, high standard shotguns in front of the California state legislature. For months, we've been begging these fools, don't do that, man. Do not do it. They wanted the money and the PR. They wanted to glam it up. The Southern California chapters of the party, Black Student Alliance and Black Student Unions, man, don't do that. We patrol the hood, man, and it's legal to be armed. We got 4 riding 4 deep in a car, man, and we armed. And when the LAPD is jacking somebody around, we pull up, we roll up. get out, and they back out, and they can't do nothing because we're legally armed. You go do that, man, they're going to make it illegal. People going to die. Well, sure enough, 2 weeks later, after they did that, they passed the statute. St. Ron the Reagan signed it, and now a whole lot of people got in shootouts because they were policing the police, and now they're armed. So we go and glorify stupidity because it looks good, but it didn't do anything. They
That's
wanted
right.
money and the PR shot. So while this black communities, the Hispanic communities are no longer safe because the young folk out there, a lot of whom just got back from the NOM, or they'd been through ROTC, which was popular then, or they'd grown up in the hood or the barrio, and game is game. They couldn't patrol anymore without risking a shootout, which happened an awful lot. So thank you very much, but now they want to make heroes of them. So we were going, oh man, wow, what you doing, dude? Do you have to do this? Well, we need the PR, man, blah, blah, blah. Man, quit smoking all that herb just because you up in the Bay Area, man, and get real. This is some serious shit. And you're going to jeopardize and get folk killed behind this.
Mm-hmm.
But now, see, we get stuck on stupid about stuff. And these folk, man, you just Uncle Doc. Man, fool, you ever been on patrol, fool? Just shut the hell up with your punk ass.
Well, I've been renting spaces. My time, they tell me my time almost up. I want to play this right quick. From the courtroom to the grill, Judge Joe Brown JJB barbecue sauce. Man, the last time me and my girl was barbecuing and we got us a bottle of that JJB barbecue sauce, I lick my fingers and I dare her to lick hers. Judge Joe Brown ought to be ashamed of himself for bringing all this smoke to the barbecue. I'm Jay Prince for president, and I approve this message. We gonna finish that. Down in the hood. That Chef Damon, he got the stuff healthy, and we collaborated on my old time.
It's delicious. It's so good. Tell us how we can get a hold of some of the meat or some of the links. Are those available now?
Oh, yeah, they are. You can order them, and they'll be on your shelves. In fact, they are out on the West Coast. We're working with some sisters who have the only USDA certified meat packing plant in all of California. It's black women that run the place. So there's that. Also, if you want some good whiskey, Poppy's, PAPI''S. Michelle Dukes, a beautiful sister, owns the distillery, and her recipe is based on one her granddad came up with when he was doing moonshine down in Mississippi.
Well, we're going to drop the link because people are asking. I see a lot of folks asking to get the links. So we're going to get those links and put them down. And even if you don't see them now, they will be down below in the description.
They are down there.
Yep. So right here, jjbbq.com. And then there's also his Cash App if you want to donate directly to him for him. And then if you go to that website, you'll be able to click a couple of different toggles that'll take you also to the is any of your stuff for the mayoral campaign there as well? I think you guys had one.
JJB 2023.
Okay, JJB 2023.
JJB in 2023. JJB 2023. JJB 2023. Stand Brown downtown, take back your town.
So is it www.jjb2023?
Judge Joe Brown 2023. Judge Joe Brown Barbecue. JJB BBQ JJB 2023. A vote for me is a vote for yourself. Take back your town. So here's the other thing. I warned you about the barbecue sauce. It's got a special added ingredient. Be careful. You might find that you got these strange urges to do the right thing, but it'll help you man up. Yeah, we put man up in the sauce.
Man up is in the sauce. Now you sisters
Man
know
up.
you need to get yourself some of that man up. To lift your man up, you better go get some of that JJ BBQ sauce. You better hurry up and get you some too, because I'm telling you guys, I have last year I bought my first case, and I'm gonna tell you, I usually make my own. And for those who follow me on my channel, you see, hey, there is Frank. Hey, Frank Nitty, how you doing? And those that follow on our other channels, you'll see I always tell you guys that I used to make my own. After that, I do not make my own. It is absolutely delicious. And I'm not just saying it because I know him. I'm saying it because I cook and I know it's good. So I cannot wait to get some of the links, and I cannot wait to get all the other stuff. I so appreciate you. And I thank you, Jay Prince, for allowing my folks to come over and hang out with us on your podcast today. Thank you so much, Judge Joe Brown. You know I love you, sir, and I appreciate you so much, my homeboy. Thank you, and I will see you guys later. And again, thank you, Headlines with a Voice, as well as the Lockhart Perspective, for coming over with me today, hanging out, and we appreciate all of you. If you all want to donate to my channel, please make sure that you do so. If you'd like to use the PayPal link, or you may also use the Lockhart Perspective for Cash App. All right. We love all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Lockhart. Thank you, Brother Prince. Check it out. I like this. We doing this thing collaboration.
Man,
The stuff
Judge Joe Brown, you have been a blessing. That's why I will vote for you to become president, mayor at any given time. I got my own hot dog cart, and so I'm buying. And when you talk about links, I actually sell different links. So I definitely will be ordering tons of your links and your barbecue sauce to put on the links.
We have hot and mild, raw and smoked. And we're also coming out with something for the veggie folk. You know, this Beyond Meat stuff. We're going to have links made too.
Because I sell veggie brats on my hot dogs, stuff like that. And that typically does pretty well. And, you know, because I want to be versatile for everybody. So I can't wait till you come out with that. And it's a blessing that you bless our panel with your presence. And now we got this every Wednesday, right? Around the same time.
Yeah, I'll accommodate it. I was out of town for more than a week doing a movie up in Baltimore.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about your movie?
Okay, it's called The Forbidden, The Affair. Two these, The Forbidden, The Affair. And I played an interesting part, a judge, but a special kind of judge. I'm kind of not exactly legal.
I got this.
I guess I'm crooked, but I have folk take it out on both sides of the equation. And on top of it, I'm the secret godfather for this organized crime family, so to speak. So got some interesting things going on in it about the whole production. It's very interesting. So there's a bid war going on right now as to whether it's going to be about a movie standalone, a movie franchise, or a television thing, maybe like Netflix or something like that. And it involves love, it involves gangster, it involves murder, it involves a bit of supernatural stuff in there. It's
I think I can do good in a movie one day. I always fantasize about being in a movie. A lot of people up here think I'm funny. They think I'm organic, authentic. I think I'll be pretty decent in a movie one day.
Yeah. I mean, expand it. Don't just say your lines, put it in like, you know, guys, what is this? Why didn't anybody surprise me and tell me beforehand? We into TV now?
Right.
Television. Meanwhile, somebody explained to me what the fuck we got a TV camera crew outside of here trying to cover this because this dipshit over here is acting a goddamn fool. Somebody tell me. I really would love to know. I mean, I think the old man can find out. I mean, I don't like surprises.
Right.
Oh, how about this one? No. I believe in retirement benefits.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's a good idea?
Yep.
I got a problem. Okay, now, I was just out looking at retirement properties. After you get through, you might need a rest. And we were looking at places where you can rest easily, after retirement. But, there's one unfortunate thing. Properties we were looking at, they all had cemetery somewhere in their name. Now, does anybody want a long rest after too much stressing you out? Do you really tell me? Let me know. Maybe I can do something for you. Now that we got this understanding, let's move on to some business.
Well, hey, Judge, I got somebody that want to speak to you.
All right.
Come on, y'all.
Hi there,
Go.
Miss
Hello,
Pretty
Judge
Girl.
Brown.
Oh, Miss Pretty Girls. All right. Hi there.
These
Bunch
are
of
big girls.
hello.
They wave. They not in the camera right now.
Don't be shy.
That's the judge. He put you in jail when y'all be bad. Put you on timeout for a long time. Go play. Thank you, Judge. You's a
All
good.
right.
Thank you for reaching out.
Lockett. Thank you, Sir Prince. And there you go. Time to check out for the. We want to do this next week. I'll be a lot clearer instead of just getting off of the airplane late yesterday after getting a hold up overnight in Detroit. When Delta told me, well, you can Google a hotel. Wait a minute, you're going to tell me to go Google a hotel in Detroit and find my own transportation to the damn thing? Somebody's going to do something about that since it was your maintenance issue that caused this problem. Anyway, Detroit's Detroit, but it was interesting. But let me know. Give me a text, man. Please send me a text or get my secretary or my
I'll text you,
chief
sir.
of staff doing this so I won't let it happen.
I'll text you, Joe.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. How
Thank
about
you, the Honorable Judge Joe Mathis.
Judge Joe Brown.
Judge Joe Brown.
Listen, for that, I got to come back on the screen. This man is far more handsome and has retained his look and his value. That's all I'm gonna say. And I like Judge Mathis, but this is my wonderful, wonderful Judge Joe Brown. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love
My
Judge Joe Brown.
notice has been Judge Joe. Call me when you can, since I'm the one that ran. I'm out of here.
All right, y'all. I got a video. Let me end with this, y'all. Thank y'all for pulling up. And let me end with this.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Michael, he got upset. Well, he wasn't even upset, but he just was playing too much. And basically, he got my lotion off my kitchen table, and he just started pouring on the floor, talking about this for his dead homies. Then he got my liquor. He started pouring it on the floor, talking about this is for his dead homies.
Now you have the floor.
But like he said, we was in college.
Yeah, but you dropped out and you're unemployed.
Nah.
Employed and still matriculating in college.
I'm in college, like I said, anyways.
No, you list your occupation as unemployed.
Yeah, I'm a student. Right.
Well, you don't list student either. You aren't going right now.
Anyways,
it's not in the middle of the school semester, but you withdrew.
The story, man. You feel me? We was in college. You know
you don't talk over me. Go ahead.
He got his own crib. You know what I mean? So they want to
You
play
went
and
to
stuff.
college and you're talking like that, bro. You trying to act like a hood rat. What's your problem? Are you trying to perpetrate
My
that you
cousin
were a
wanted to
hood
play
rat?
with me,
You
so I
talking
started
over
playing
me.
with him. Right.
You see, there's one difference. I'm not him. When you start going for bad, let me tell you something. See, you cold cocked him, you sucker punched him.
From the courtroom to the grill, Judge Joe Brown JJB barbecue sauce. Man, the last time me and my girl was barbecuing and we got us a bottle of that JJB barbecue sauce, I lick my fingers and I dare her to lick hers. Judge Joe Brown ought to be ashamed of himself for bringing all this smoke to the barbecue. I'm Jay Prince for president and I approve this message. We gonna finish that?
Don't be fucking rude.